Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto x Lillie Pokémon harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by PAIN17 FanFiction, link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Let the journey begin. Soft snores were heard coming from a small bedroom. This bedroom belonged to a modest home on the beautiful Sanabra Island of the Kanto region. An island known for its volcano and the fire gym. Resting on the bed was a blonde teen with whisker-marked cheeks and wild hair that defied being tamed by any means. His bedroom was simple, sporting his bed, a desk, and a small television with a luxury bowl resting on top of it. For decorations, he had a couple of photos hung on the walls, as well as an island lei that had red, yellow, and orange flowers comprising it. Resting next to him, curling herself against his form, was a white fox with a puffy tuft of fur on her head and 6 equally fluffy tails acting as her pillow. She was a Vulpix from the far-off Alola region, hatched here on Sanabra just shy of a year ago. The sound of a flock of Pidgey making their way north made her ear twitch, and she blearily opened her crystalline blue eyes before giving off an adorable yawn. Rousing her body up, she shook her fur loose of anything that had clung to it before she moved over to her partner's face. She licked his cheek once, making him groan and try to stay asleep. Seeing as it almost worked, she pawed his cheek and gave a soft coo of her name, making him crack open one of his violet eyes. 1. His lips curved into a tired smile as he greeted, "Morning, girl." She gave a smile back, her tails waving happily. She patiently waited for him to sit up on his bed and stretch his body awake with a wide yawn. When she saw he was awake enough, she gave a happy yip of her name before jumping into his lap, nuzzling her body against his chest affectionately. He chuckled at her actions, petting her back and tails softly. "Glad to see you're ready for the day, Akitsu-chan." 2. He moved her off his lap before getting out of bed and heading out of his room for the kitchen, the owl and Pokémon following along happily. In the kitchen, already having breakfast on the stove, was the boy's mother. She was a beauty of a woman with violet eyes that matched his and cascading red tresses of hair that flowed down her lower back, nearly reaching her ankles with its length. She was dressed in a high-collared, sleeveless white blouse that was covered by a loose-fit green dress, while a black clip parted her bangs to the left. Helping her cook were a pair of Ninetales. One from Kanto and the other from Alola. The fire-typed one was her partner, Kurama, while the ice-fairy-typed one was his mate, Koyuki. Both being the parents of Akitsu. Seated in his wheelchair was the teen's father, who shared his blonde hair. Though his was noticeably more manageable. He was dressed in black pants and a dark blue shirt that had the sleeves stop at his elbows. Seated next to him, floating in midair on its tail, was the man's partner and faithful friend, Senki. A Raichu from the Alola region. These two were Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze, parents of Naruto Uzumaki. While he could also be called Namikaze, Uzumaki rolled off the tongue better. At least, that's what his mother said most times while his father never said anything against it. "Morning, son," Minato greeted, giving the 14-year-old a warm smile. "Today's the day, huh?" Naruto gave a bright grin and nodded. "Yep. I finally start my league journey." He then held a deadpan expression and added, 4 years past the minimum starting age, Tebeo. Minato chuckled awkwardly while Kushina puffed her cheeks in annoyance. "None of that, Tebane," she admonished, pointing a wooden spoon at him. A deadly weapon in her hands. "Just because other parents let their children go off all willy-nilly at age 10 doesn't mean I'm going to do the same thing. 10 is way too young for something like this." Sighing in tandem with Akitsu, Naruto replied, "Yeah, I know, Mom. Just bummed I couldn't start earlier, is all." "HMPH," she huffed once again. "If you had started earlier, then you wouldn't have met Akitsu-chan." "True," the teen agreed, crouching down to pet the Vulpix on the head, making her coo joyfully. "But, now that it's time, Akitsu and I will take the league head-on and kick ass, Tebeo." Accompanying his declaration was a fist pump while Akitsu gave a determined yip, raising her paw in agreement with her partner. Kurama rolled his eyes while Koyuki smiled at the bond between her kid and the blonde boy. Minato and Senki both smiled at Naruto and Akitsu, while Kushina decided not to admonish him for his language. Giving him a proud look at his determination. He really did take after her the most. Breakfast was a happy affair for the family. The 3 humans talked about Naruto's trip, with the 2 adults giving him some advice and tips while he listened attentively. As for the Pokémon, the 2 Ninetales conversed with their kit while the Raichu threw in his input from time to time. After breakfast, Naruto went to his room to prepare his travel pack with Akitsu helping him. He was nearly finished when a knock was heard on his doorframe, letting him see his father. "What's up, Dad?" "Just wanted to talk away from your mother for a moment, if you don't mind," he answered, wheeling himself into the room while Senki closed the door. "I wanted to remind you not to be reckless during your journey and to be careful of shady people or possible organizations." You mean like the rumors of Team Rocket? Guessed the younger blonde. Exactly, the man confirmed with a grim nod. I trust you to take care of both you and your Pokémon, but you can never be too careful, son. I speak from experience that things can go wrong in an instant. Senk looked down shamefully, prompting Minato to reach over and pat the Raichu's head assuringly. How did it happen? Naruto asked hesitantly, earning his father's attention once more. I was always too nervous to ask because I didn't want to bring up bad memories. But he paused briefly, I need to know, Dad. It was during a bust of the Ether organization, Minato began. My team was in the middle of battling their Pokémon while trying to stop them from transferring their data to another location. Attacks from the Pokémon were flying all over the place and some of my fellow officers were hit by stray shots. I wound up taking a thunderbolt to my back and the electricity damaged the nerves in my spine, paralyzing me from the waist down. Oh, it was saddening to hear about his father's last assignment before he was forced to retire. Did you stop either? A month later, the head of the organization was found and taken into custody. She would have been served a harsh sentence for her crimes. But she had 2 babies and there was no father. He gave his son a strained smile as he continued, you remember Gladian and Lillie? Yeah, of course I do, Naruto replied, recalling his childhood friends before his family moved to Cinnabar. Realization struck and he whispered, their mom was the leader. Minato nodded once. Yes, she was. She was allowed to raise them, but she was watched by a constant guard and no Pokémon were allowed in her home with them. She eventually offered her knowledge and research in exchange for more liberties. Which was allowed when her research was thoroughly looked over. But Aunt Lucamin was always so nice. I can't believe she was in charge of a criminal group. People can surprise you. Sometimes in the worst way, Minato stated, instilling more wisdom into his son. At any rate, Lucamin-san has reformed from her past and she's been welcomed into society once more. Thanks to her children. Gladian and Lillie-chan are lucky they didn't lose her. Indeed, they are. But that's enough of that. The point I wanted to make was for you to keep your senses and wits sharp. Trust your instincts, Naruto. He smiled and ruffled his son's hair. You inherited the best of them from your mother and I will, promised the whiskered blonde. The family was next seen at the docks where Naruto would board a ship to Pallet Town, where Prof. Oak resided. While Naruto did one last check of his pack, his parents spoke quietly. You warned him to be careful, right? Kushina asked, showing her motherly worry. Yes, I did. I also told him about my accident. That caught her by surprise, knowing how sensitive the topic was. Minato was one of the best officers in Alola and he was well on his way to becoming the next chief of police. It was something he had worked hard towards for many years before the accident robbed him of the chance. He needed to know, Minato explained, smiling at his wife. Besides, now he has a better appreciation of his family and friends thanks to knowing about Lucamin's past. Alright then, dear, Kushina agreed, trusting her husband's judgment. She turned to her son, who was saying his goodbyes to hers and Minato's Pokémon, smiling at his excitement and exuberance. She was forced to choke back a laugh when she saw Kurama dismiss him with a casual wave of one of his tails, making Naruto slump comically while Akitsu and Koyuki cheered him up. All aboard! Shouted one of the crewmen of the ship. Hearing him, Naruto walked back to his parents and gave them an anxious smile. Well, this is it. Kushina's eyes grew misty and she hugged her son tightly. Please, just be safe. That's all I care about, Naruto. I will, Mom, promised the teen. I'll be sure to call you whenever I reach a new town. You'd better, Tebane, warned the woman through her tears. It was hard to watch her only child head out on his own. Naruto then hugged his father, who simply said, take it slow, son. And listen to your Matormid mother. Chuckling, Naruto nodded in agreement before he shouldered his pack. Akitsu jumping on his shoulder as he crouched down to grab it. He gave his parents one last smile and waved before he headed up the boarding ramp. Minutes later, the ship raised its anchors and was off across the water. Naruto's parents and their Pokémon stayed at the docks until they couldn't see it on the horizon anymore. Nearly a week later at sea, the ship from Cinnabar ported at the docks a couple miles away from Pallet Town. Stepping off the ship was Naruto, ready to meet the professor of the Kanto region, with Akitsu sitting comfortably on his shoulder. Currently, he was dressed in durable black sandals that left his toes and heels exposed, black cargo shorts with large pockets, a crimson-red sleeveless shirt, and an open island shirt that was colored orange with red swirls decorating it. He had a black belt holding up his shorts, an orange headband holding back his bangs, and Akitsu's luxury bowl resting against his chest by means of a magnetic necklace. 3. Grinning brightly, Naruto adjusted his travel pack before he walked towards Pallet, eager to meet Oak and get his Pokédex. Back in Alola, Professor Kukui gave aspiring trainers what he called a Rotom Dex. Which was basically a Pokédex possessed by a Rotom that assisted the trainer. While it was definitely interesting, Naruto was more than happy to receive a standard Pokédex. It was going to play a crucial part in his journey, considering how he was obviously more used to the island region's Pokémon. It took him a little over half an hour's walk to reach Pallet, having to leap out of the way of a speeding red car driven by some kid and his tag-along cheerleaders. Naruto glared at the departing vehicle, finding himself agreeing with his mother on how reckless it was to let 10-year-old children go off on their own. Especially if they were driving. 4. Shaking off his ire, he refocused on getting to Oak's lab, having to maneuver himself through a crowd of people celebrating another boy's recital of his starter Pokémon. A Pikachu, from what Naruto witnessed. Cute, but those suckers could be pretty stubborn, the blonde mused before stepping into the lab. Somehow avoiding the attention of the crowd. For that, he was glad. It would have been awkward to have everyone staring at a Kitsu who was different from natural Vulpix in Kanto. Professor? Naruto called as he walked into the main room of the man's laboratory. Be with you in a moment. A slightly elderly man's voice called back before Samuel Oak stepped in from another room. He caught a glimpse of the young teen and his Alolan Vulpix before smiling in realization. Ah, you're Minato and Kushina's boy, aren't you? Yes, sir, the blonde answered respectfully. Oak was known as the man who knew the most about Pokémon, after all. He deserved the respect many gave him. Yes, your parents gave me a call after you left Tsunaber, continued the professor, gesturing Naruto to follow him to another room. He had Naruto set a Kitsu down on a table as he took a closer look at her. Remarkable, he praised as he wrote down his comparisons to the Kanto Vulpix. I never realized how a simple change of climate could affect a Pokémon so much. Changing its type entirely. You never talked with Professor Kukui about it? The Uzumaki asked. Well, considering how busy we both are and how the regions have different time zones, it's rather difficult to get a hold of him, Oak explained. I've been trying to find some free time to head over to Alola, but I haven't had much luck in that endeavor. Ah, I see. Well, Akitsu-chan was born from a Kanto and an Alolan Ninetales. But she took after her mother more. Yes, my fellow professors have noticed that during our studies of Pokémon eggs and their hatchings. The mother usually determines what species of Pokémon is born. And even which variant, based on what you've just told me. The man took a few more minutes to look over Akitsu and take down notes before he led the teen and his partner back into the main room. Sitting at his desk, he offered Naruto and Akitsu the small couch as he got some things in order. There we are, the man proclaimed, setting down a red device, a map, and 5 small red-white spheres. Here's your Pokédex, which I've taken the liberty of registering to you. It acts as your identification for the league as well, so don't lose it. I won't, Naruto promised, taking the device and putting it in his pocket. Next is the map of the Kanto region. Since you'll be taking the league challenge, it'd be best for you to start heading north for Viridian City. He got a nod from the teen before he gestured to the last handful of items. I doubt I need to explain what these are, considering that you already have a partner. Yeah, I know what those are, the blonde assured the man before he clipped the 5 empty Pokeballs to the slots on his belt, leaving one open. Is there anything else I should know before I head out? The league tournament will begin in around 6 months. This should give you time to get the 8 badges needed to participate. Also, you can only carry 6 Pokémon at a time. If you catch one while having a full party, you can either send one of your party or the recently caught Pokémon to me via your Pokédex. It's a standard feature for trainers. Got it? The young man stood up with Akitsu taking her spot on his shoulder once more. He shook Oak's hand and grinned at the man. Thanks for the supplies, Professor. I'll be sure to record as many Pokémon as I can for you during my journey. Glad to hear it, replied the man, smiling back at the younger blonde. Now, your parents told me that you were interested in the lore of the other regions, yes? Mostly the rumors about the Pokémon categorized as legendary. I heard that there was one here in Kanto that practically no one has gathered proof of. Ah, yes. Mew. It's quite possibly the rarest Pokémon in existence, if I were to throw in my personal opinion. There have been a handful of people who claimed they saw it. But they had no proof to support their claims. Well, if you have anything on it, I'd really appreciate it. I want to be the first one to get some proof Mew exists. Oak chuckled at the teen's determination before he headed over to his shelf and pulled out a folder. Handing it to him, he explained, those are a copy of the notes I have on Mew. If you're lucky enough, maybe you will be the first one to bring proof. Naruto gratefully accepted the folder and put it in his pack before grinning at the professor. You better be ready for me when I find it, Professor Oak. I'm gonna find Mew for sure. Best of luck to you then, Naruto Uzumaki, bid the man as he watched the newest trainer of the Kanto region head out on the start of his journey. As he saw the teen heading north, he took note of the building storm clouds ahead, making him frown in slight concern. I hope those boys stay safe out there, he mused, thinking of his grandson, Delia's boy, and Naruto. Holding an open umbrella, Naruto walked down Route 1 towards the city of Viridian. Akitsu getting some exercise by walking beside him. The weather sure went bad quickly, huh? Akitsu cooed her name worriedly, her ears twitching at the faint echo of thunder. We'll be fine, Akitsu-chan. If the weather gets worse, we could always find some shelter to wait it out. His partner nodded. In the meantime, we'll keep walking. We never know if we'll run into some Pokémon who don't care about the weather. The loud roar of thunder was soon heard, followed by a brilliant flash of lightning ahead of them. What shocked both him and his partner was that there were some distant shapes falling from the sky following the lightning burst. Come on, girl. Naruto declared as they both rushed ahead, worried if anyone, human or Pokémon, were seriously hurt. As they neared the source, they saw a couple dozen Spearow knocked out cold, with stray shocks of electricity coursing through them. Geez, what kind of Pokémon has enough power to knock out this many Spearow? Akitsu gave an unsure yip as she prodded one of the twitching birds with her forepaw. Well, they don't look too hurt, mused the blonde. I guess it'd be best if we just moved on. His partner nodded, and the two weaved their way through the knocked-out Pokémon, continuing on towards Viridian City. So some kid took off with your bike because he had an injured Pikachu? Naruto asked his current travel companion. She was an orange tea girl with a bad temper. Though she had a reason for it. Yeah, that stupid kid, the girl groused, internally thankful that the blonde had an umbrella large enough for her to share with him. I know his Pokémon was hurt and all, but why wouldn't he just put it in a Pokeball? Some Pokémon don't like being in those things, like Akitsu-chan, explained Naruto, earning an agreeing yip from the Vulpix. The girl, Misty, finally took note of the white fox and squealed. Oh, she's adorable. She reached out to grab Akitsu, but the Alola fox jerked her head back and gave a growl. She had bad experience with women and their cute obsession tendencies. She did not want to go through that anymore. Misty looked surprised at the hostility while Naruto chuckled awkwardly. Yeah, Akitsu has some bad memories with cuddling. Oh, the girl sighed out, slumping for a moment before perking back up. By the way, why does she look like a Vulpix? She is a Vulpix. One from the Alola region far away from here. I was born there before my family moved to Kanto. Alola. Yeah, my home region is constantly called an island paradise. It's different from the other regions since they don't have gyms. Instead, they have island champions. Last I heard from the professor of that region was that he recently put together his own Elite Four challenge. The Alola region never had one before. Misty asked with a raised brow, idly noting that the weather had let up and the clouds were slowly parting ways. Not that I know of. Maybe one day I'll go back and take on the island challenges. But first, she saw him grin with determination burning in his violet eyes. I'm going to take on the Kanto League. With Akitsu at my side and my future team, we'll take on anyone and prove our strength. Vulpix. Akitsu declared with just as much passion as her partner. Misty couldn't help but be impressed with his confidence. Well, good luck with your journey then, Naruto. Thanks. He paused as he noticed a sign saying they were just about to enter Viridian City. Well, this is where we part ways. Good luck finding the guy who took your bike. But, try to take it easy on him since he did it for his Pikachu. She frowned at his words before sighing in defeat. Fine, I'll give the brat a chance to explain himself before I do anything. At the very least, if he trashed my bike, then he owes me a new one. That's fair, Naruto agreed with a chuckle before he waved goodbye and headed for the gym. The city was different from the ones back in Alola. It felt more cramped than the open spaces he was used to. At least Cinnabar Island kept its spaces open. It must be an island thing, he supposed. Approaching the gym, his eyes widened when he saw that it was closed. The windows were covered and the front entrance was bolted shut, preventing anyone from seeing inside or entering. Well, shit, he cursed with narrowed eyes. Akitsu looked just as annoyed as he was, narrowing her blue eyes at the set of bolted doors. Now what? Chapter 2. Reunions and Forests. Damn it all, Naruto grumbled as he sat on his bed in the Pokémon Center. They were built with lodgings for trainers, so long as they paid a nightly fee. Now what are we gonna do, girl? Bull, she whined sadly. Sighing in defeat, he laid down fully on the bed, prompting Akitsu to jump up and crawl onto his chest before curling up. Instinctively, he had a hand scratch the top of her head, making her purr in delight. We'll just have to figure it out tomorrow then, I guess. But that said, the two of them fell asleep. Feeling exhausted after their boat ride and long walk to Viridian City. They slept so deeply that they were ignorant to a certain criminal organization attempting to swipe the center of the Pokémon getting treated within its walls. Luckily, they were stopped by a familiar boy and his Pikachu. With the help of a certain girl's bike, of course. What the hell did I miss last night? Naruto comically asked, his eyes wide as he and Akitsu observed the damage the center had taken during the attempted heist. Oh, Mr. Uzumaki. Nurse Joy called out from behind her desk, sounding relieved to see him. Thank goodness you and your Pokémon are alright. What happened here? How did I sleep through it? Some members of Team Rocket tried to take the Pokémon under our care, but they were stopped by some brave kids. Especially a boy named Ash and his Pikachu. The kid with a Pikachu? Mused the blonde. Where have I seen that before? Vulpix. Oh yeah. That kid who got a Pikachu from Professor Oak. He reached a hand up and rubbed her head affectionately. Good memory, girl. She basked in the praise, delighted to receive it from her best friend. So, where's the kid now? He and a young woman headed for the Viridian Forest. It's the best way to get to Pewter City from here, Joy explained. I see. Do you and your staff need any help with cleaning up or repairs? Oh, we can manage. We were lucky to have our power restored after Team Rocket was dealt with. Our backup generators would have only lasted so long. That's a relief. So, are the video phones working? I'd like to make a call. She nodded with a kind smile, pointing him to the machines in question. With a thankful nod, the Alola-born teen headed over to them and dialed home, bracing himself for his mother's inevitable wrath. After all, he didn't call her as soon as he arrived in Viridian. After a moment, he got an answer in the form of his father on the screen. Hey, son. Already in Viridian, eh? How'd you know that? The younger blonde asked curiously. Caller ID is standard on these things, son. It lets us know what city the call is coming from. How convenient. Anyway, I was just calling to let you and mom know I made it alright. I would have called sooner, but I didn't want to take advantage of the professor's kindness and we arrived at Viridian pretty late. No worries. We're just happy you called. Where's mom, anyway? I'm surprised she wasn't the one who answered. He was also secretly relieved. To his surprise, Minato gave an awkward chuckle, scratching his cheek nervously. Well, that's because you have a guest over right now. Dad? Who's over there? Naruto asked, sounding nervous. Well, you see. Suddenly, the man was pushed aside and the face of a familiar cute blonde girl with bright green eyes filled the screen, glaring adorably at the Uzumaki boy. Naruto Uzumaki. Ah! He yelped in surprise, falling backwards and onto the floor unceremoniously. Akitsu was fortunate enough to jump from his shoulder and land on the tabletop with ease. Ah, Akitsu-chan. The girl greeted happily, backing up so she could put a palm on a part of the screen on her end. To her delight, the Owlin Vulpix pressed her paw to the image and she smiled brighter. I'm glad to see you. Her glare returned as Naruto got back up with a nervous chuckle. Unlike some people who don't give their best friends a call when he leaves for another region. Aw, come on Lillie-chan. He tried to placate her. I was gonna call you. Honest. Oh yes, she agreed calmly before exploding when you were already gone. He scratched the back of his head awkwardly, giving a sheepish chuckle. By everything, he loved Lillie as if she was his sister. But her rage moments came off as way more adorable than intimidating. It made it a bit hard to take her seriously. Which only made her angrier. And that only made the moments cuter. I'm sorry, okay. It's saying goodbye, you know. She sighed in exasperation. You wouldn't have needed to say goodbye, though. Huh? I was hoping to go with you, she continued, pouting. But I wasn't able to because you didn't let me know when you were leaving. Oh great. Now he felt guilty. So, here's what's going to happen, she continued, and Naruto saw his parents looking very amused in the background. You, she pointed directly at him from the screen, are going to wait right there. Eh? I'm going to catch the ship leaving for Pallet Town today. Eh? And we are going to travel around the Kanto region together, she finished, nodding firmly before leaving the room. The HHHHH. By now, Naruto's eyes were wide as saucers and strangely fully white with no pupils. Kushina took this moment to sit in front of the screen on her end, fighting her giggles as she said, well, looks like you'll have a travel partner for your league journey. Her son sighed in defeat, slumping forward slightly. Looks that way. If it makes you feel any better, Lucamin and Gladian both trust you with her safety. She wasn't nearly as mad as she seemed just a bit ago. Kushina smiled warmly. She was a bit upset, but she was mainly happy for you. Happy for her Ani-chan, she teased. Mom groaned the younger Uzumaki. I'm only teasing, sweetheart. Now, I'm going to wire you some money so you can stay in Viridian. Normally, I'd have you use your own money, but this will be an exception since you're waiting for Lillie-chan. Thanks, Mom. I'll call you both again when Lillie and I make it to Pewter City. You'd better, she threatened jokingly as she sent Naruto money to his account. We love you, Naruto-kun. Love you both, too, he replied before they both logged off. He turned to Akitsu, rubbing her head gently and making her purr again. Aunt Lucamin trusts me, huh? With a thoughtful hum, he turned back to the keyboard for the video phone and dialed the number for the woman's home. After a few rings, the screen lit up and a beautiful woman who looked like an older, matured version of Lillie appeared. She looked surprised briefly before she smiled warmly at him. Hello Naruto. This is a pleasant surprise. Hey auntie. Just wanted to call and reassure you that I'll be waiting for Lillie to get here to Viridian City. She'd chase you all over the Kanto region if you didn't, the woman replied with amusement, earning an awkward chuckle from the Uzumaki. How are you, dear? I'm fine. Excited to get started, for sure. That's good. This is something you've wanted to do for a long time, now. Yeah, it is. He went silent for a few moments, looking a bit conflicted. Lucamin took notice and asked, everything alright? Dad told me about his accident before I left, he confessed after a brief pause. Oh, she responded awkwardly, memories of the past resurfacing. So, now you know what I did before I had my children. She saw him nod. I'm guessing you have questions. Just one, really. Why? Why did I invest my time, money, and sanity into the Ether Foundation? She elaborated, earning a nod from her pseudo-nephew. It's difficult to talk about. But, I owe you this much since I'm partially responsible for your father's predicament. He waited patiently for her to begin. It all started when my husband, who's a scientist like myself, went missing. Moan was studying wormholes and similar phenomena that were made by creatures we labeled as ultra beasts. Ultra beasts? Naruto repeated. She nodded. They're beings similar to Pokémon in nature. Enough that they use Pokémon moves and have their own typings. Moan was working alone at our lab one evening while I was out purchasing some supplies. When I returned to the lab. He wasn't there, finished the younger blonde, feeling sad for her. He could only imagine what she must have felt when she saw him missing. Yes, I searched everywhere, called all our colleagues, and checked our files to try and find him. No one had any idea where he was, but the latest file he had made on our computer carried a video log. In it, I saw Moan and how he was taken by a wormhole he had accidentally made. Lucamin, I'm so sorry, he apologized, feeling compelled to give her his condolences for her loss. Thank you, she replied, smiling sadly before she continued. That was my only clue on his whereabouts, and I dedicated myself to finding him. Creating the Ether Foundation just so I could bring him home. I spent years researching ways to open another wormhole, which wound up leading me to information a Pokémon called Cosmog. But then your methods began to bend the law. Sometimes even breaking it, Naruto deduced, to which she nodded. Yes, they did. We wound up hiring criminals to help us bully our way into other labs for their equipment. I deceived everyone who was working with me into thinking we were building a utopia for future generations. But, it was all a lie. All I really wanted was to bring Moan back home. At the end of her tale, she was wiping away tears that were rolling down her cheeks. Thinking about the loss of her husband and how far she fell just to find him always made her emotional. Thank you for telling me this, Auntie, Naruto said, waiting for her to recompose herself. You still call me that? She asked, choking out a chuckle through her tears. Even after everything I've done. After realizing your father paid the price for my actions. You weren't doing this to try and take over a region or to try and wipe out people or Pokémon. You did all of this because you wanted to bring back the person you loved. Something that any widow could relate to. He gave her a small smile as he finished, so, yes. I still call you Auntie. She gave a gentle laugh as some more tears fell, feeling the weight of her guilt finally be removed thanks to her nephew's forgiveness. She gave him a sincere smile as she replied, thank you, Naruto-kun. Just make sure to keep supporting Gladian and Lillie-chan. They still need their mother, after all. I know and I will, she promised. Promise me that you'll keep her safe. Please. You have my word, he returned, bidding the woman goodbye before they both signed off. Over on Lucamin's end, she moved away from her computer and laid down on her bed. Curling into herself, she began to weep once more. She wept for her lost husband, for her children who could have lost both of their parents, and for the compassionate young man she was blessed to call a nephew. Thank you, she choked out through her tears, feeling the taint of her past sins be washed away. Bikitsu, use powder snow. Vulpix. The ice vixen cried, blowing out a burst of powderized ice at the opponent's Pidgey. The small bird Pokémon gave a trill of pain before it was downed, knocked out from the fight. The young trainer that had challenged Naruto looked shocked at the sight. And no way. Sighing in tandem with his Pokémon, Naruto let the kid keep his money as he headed to the Pokémon Mart. I tried to warn him, he grumbled. Olakitsu agreed, a cute pout on her face. Well, at least Lillie-chan should be arriving today, he mused, smiling as his partner gave a happy yip. This'll be the first time you both met face to face. You nervous, girl? Shaking her head, the owlin Vulpix gave another happy cry of her name. Glad to hear it. Excuse me, he heard a familiar voice speak up, prompting him to turn and look across the road. He blinked in surprise at the sight of Lillie talking to Officer Jenny. Could you point me to the Pokémon Center, please? Yo, Lillie-chan. He called, getting her attention. Grinning brightly, he gave her a wave while Akitsu jumped onto his shoulder. Naruto. She returned happily, bidding the officer her thanks before running over to him. She slowed to a stop when she was about a foot away from him, her happiness changing to a look of adorable annoyance. "So, you waited after all." He rolled his eyes playfully. "Of course, I did. I wasn't looking forward to you chasing me all over Kanto if I didn't stick around." She fumed, her cheeks blazing red in embarrassment. I would never do such a thing." All he and Akitsu did was deadpan at her, making her cheeks redder. An accomplishment in Naruto's book. "Glad to see you made it here safely," he bid softly, placing a hand on her head and ruffling her hair gently. She squeaked in further embarrassment, playing with her shirt shyly. Naruto was only one of two people who could get reactions out of her this easily, and she had a love-hate feeling towards that fact. She was brought out of her embarrassment by Akitsu yipping happily. She looked to the vixen just in time for her to leap into Lily's arms. Catching her, the green-eyed blonde giggled and let the Pokémon nuzzle her cheek. "It's so great to finally meet you," she said sincerely, running a hand through the icy blue fur. "Has Naruto been taking good care of you?" Akitsu yipped and nodded, wagging her tails happily. "I'm glad." "Hey, so how's Mizuki?" Naruto asked. "I'm surprised she didn't come here with you." Lily smiled softly, her gaze going distant for a moment. "Mizuki-chan wanted to come, but I told her that she still needed to finish her island challenges." She turned to him and added, "I'm hoping to meet her at the port in Vermilion City." "You actually convinced her to stay in Alola?" That was a surprise to him. Mizuki was Lily's closest female friend since him, and Gladion were all kids. In fact, the two were so close that they actually admitted that they had started dating a few months ago. It was a surprise to everyone, but they were happy for the two girls. It wasn't easy, Lily admitted as the two of them headed for the center, Akitsu still in her arms. "I had to promise her that I'd be careful while she promised me that she'd finish her challenges in a month." 1 month, huh? How far along is she? "She's got one more island to tackle, actually. But, she's also trying to make sure her team is ready for anything beyond the island challenges." He chuckled. "Sounds like she'll be okay. Maybe after I get my team all figured out and trained, we could have a battle." "I wouldn't underestimate her, Ani-chan," she warned, giving him a stern look while Naruto smiled at her using a brotherly title for him. It meant she wasn't mad at him anymore. "Mizuki-chan is tougher than when you left Alola." "Good. I'd be disappointed if she wasn't." He then surprised the younger blonde by pulling her into a warm hug. Akitsu having jumped back on his shoulder when she saw him start. "I'm glad you're here, Imato." Her cheeks reddened slightly once more before she melted in his embrace. She loved her family and she cared deeply for Mizuki. But Naruto held a special place in her heart too. It was because of the bond she had with him that she was so upset that he began his journey without telling her. But now, she was here with him. And she wasn't going to let him out of her sight. Not when she hadn't seen him in person since he left Alola. The next morning, the two blondes set off for the Viridian Forest. They had made sure to gather some information on the place and its best routes to find Pokémon before heading out. Naruto already had a plan in mind for his team. Akitsu was an ice type. Soon to be fairy as well when she evolved into a Ninetales. He would need to find a good balance so that he and his Pokémon would be able to handle almost any challenge. Here in the forest, he was hoping to find a decent bug or grass type. He wasn't picky. But he needed to be sure that the Pokémon he found were as ready as he was. As for Lily, she was content with the going-away present that Lucamin had given her before she left for Kanto. And that present was in her arms, kept warm in a portable incubation chamber. It was an egg that was dirt brown with cream-colored spirals decorating it here and there. She couldn't wait to see what would hatch from it. The two were brought out of their thoughts by a large blur darting past them, moving from one side of brush that bordered the dirt road to the other. "Brill!" came a cry as a large bee Pokémon darted out of the woods, charging at the earlier blur. Both Owl and Blondes watched it tear through the brush before one of its spear-like limbs rammed into a fuzzy purple Pokémon with red compound eyes and gray antennae. They cringed at the hit, seeing the Venonat get sent hurtling into a tree before it slid down unconscious. The Beedrill hovered around the fallen Pokémon before it nodded to itself and turned around, making Naruto and Lily yelp in surprise before ducking behind a tree. It didn't notice and flew past them, never looking back as it headed towards where they assumed its hive was. "Geez, that was brutal," mused the whiskered blonde. "It was so fast and intense," Lily agreed with a shiver, referring to the look in the Beedrill's eyes as it chased down the Venonat. What was that, anyway?" "The Beedrill. It's a bug and poison type," Naruto informed, looking at his Pokédex and showing Lily the picture. "It's definitely strong, but I don't think it'd be a good idea to capture it." "Why not?" she asked. "That Beedrill was powerful, after all." "Because it's defending a hive, most likely. If I caught it, the hive would see it as an attack and chase us down. No need to put ourselves in unnecessary danger, after all." "That's true. Anyway, there's still more forest to see. I'm sure I'll find a Pokémon here that'll catch my eye. She nodded and shared a smile with him and Akitsu before the three of them resumed walking. While the forest was definitely full of bug Pokémon, it was no less fascinating to them. Considering how few forests there were in Alola. Most of the islands had open spaces, caverns, and springs. "Ball." Akitsu called, jumping in front of her trainer in a low crouch, her eyes narrowed. "What's up, girl?" he asked, earning a yip from her. The yip called out to something, prompting the bushes to rustle before a small Pokémon walked out. It resembled a blue plant bulb with a round body, beady red eyes and oval foot-like roots. 5 large green leaves were seen on its head and it stared defiantly at Akitsu. Oddish. It challenged, stamping one of its feet on the dirt. "What's this Pokémon?" Naruto mused, activating his Pokédex. Oddish. The weed Pokémon. This Pokémon grows by absorbing moonlight. During the daytime, it buries itself in the ground, leaving only its leaves exposed to avoid detection by its enemies. It is a grass and poison type Pokémon and is female. Grass and poison, eh? He grinned excitedly, pocketing the electronic encyclopedia. "Ready for this, girl?" "Ball." "Bish, oddish." The oddish fired back, literally as she hopped and spun in place, launching a flurry of sharpened leaves. "Crap, a razor leaf." Counter it with powder snow and then rush in with quick attack. The icy vixen let loose a burst of snow that froze the flying leaves and halted them in midair before she dashed through them in a blur, ramming into the oddish with a shoulder charge. The weed Pokémon cried in alarm before she righted herself mid-flight and landed on her feet, glaring at the vixen. "Oddish," she declared, letting loose a cloud of purple spores that spread around her. "Those don't look safe," Lillie noted worriedly. "It's because they're not. It's poison powder. Akitsu-chan, be careful." The Vulpix nodded, keeping her distance as the oddish smirked behind its protective hazard. It then turned around and shook its backside at the ice vixen, making her cheeks redden as she glared at the grass poison type. Furiously, she let loose another powder snow that blew away the poisonous spores, catching the oddish by surprise. Both trainer and Pokémon smirked at her as Naruto called out, "Akitsu, finish it with extrasensory." 2. Well, she began, her blue eyes glowing gold as a blue outline covered her form, Pix. From her forehead, a golden burst of psychic energy shot out and stuck true, sending the oddish flying into a tree. The impact was enough to leave a small indentation, and the Pokémon fell to the ground. To Naruto's amazement, she trembled as she gave everything she had to get back up. He couldn't help but smile at the willpower the little oddish had. "You're perfect," he declared, pulling out a Pokeball. "I hope we'll become good partners." With that, he threw the ball, and it impacted against the oddish before she was sucked into the ball in a red light. The Pokeball shook a couple of times before it stopped and a click was heard, making Naruto's smile widen into a grin. He picked up the ball and looked to it proudly before turning to his partner. "Great job, girl. We caught our first Kanto Pokémon." "Vulpix." She cheered with him. Lillie walked over to them with a proud smile on her face. "That was excellent, you two. You were both great." "Thanks." Now, he looked back to the ball, "What should I name you?" "What about Kusano?" 3. "Kusano?" he repeated, raising a brow. Nodding, Lillie explained, "The Pokédex called Oddish a weed Pokémon. Which I think is pretty mean. So, why don't we call her something more related to grass?" "Grass and Kusano," he hummed thoughtfully before smiling and nodding once. "Yeah, I like it. Kusano it is." Lillie looked pleased that he used her suggestion, while Akitsu was just happy that her partner was one step closer to his goal. He clipped the Pokeball to his belt and she leapt onto his shoulder once more. "Well, ready to get out of here?" Nodding, Lillie replied, "Yes, I'd like to get to Pewter City before it gets too late. I want to call Mom when we get there." "Yeah, I'll have to call my folks too. We better get a move on then." The two then resumed their trek down the road through Viridian Forest, one member more in their happy group. Chapter 3. Get ready to rock. "Here's your Pokémon, Uzumaki-san," the nurse Joy of Pewter City informed the whiskered blonde, handing him a tray holding his luxury ball and Pokeball. Taking the balls out, Naruto let out Akitsu and clipped Kusano's Pokeball to his belt. "Thanks, Nurse Joy. Would it be alright if my friend and I booked a room here?" The Pincat woman smiled politely and nodded. "Of course. I'll just get you a room key." "Thank you. We'll be by the video phones," he told her before heading over to Lillie, who was chatting with her mother. "Well, I'm glad that you and Naruto-kun are doing alright, dear," Lucamin was heard telling her daughter. "Now, be sure to pay attention to him as he battles and handles each situation. If you want to be a trainer, then you need to learn from others so you can understand the tricks of the trade." "I know, mother," Lillie replied. "I'll be with Ani-chan the whole time. So, I'm bound to learn as he does." "Yep," Naruto cut in, earning their attention. "As I stumble or succeed, she'll be there with me all the way, auntie." "Hello again, Naruto-kun." Lillie-chan told me that you caught a Pokémon for the first time. Nice job. He rubbed the back of his head bashfully. It wasn't just me, Tebeo. The two female blondes looked amused at his verbal tick and at how he grumbled about it. So, from what I've read concerning the Kanto region, Pewter City's gym leader is considered one of the leading experts on rock and ground types. Akitsu won't have the full advantage here. Naruto nodded at her information. Yeah, I know. Ice beats ground, but rock beats ice. He then grinned and added, good thing that I caught an oddish to deal with both of those typings. Lucamin smirked at that. Clever boy. But, even with the type advantage, never underestimate the tricks that you can pull off with your Pokémon. I've seen battles where Pokémon facing disadvantages in typing still came out on top. It's all a matter of playing to your strengths, Naruto-kun. Good thing Oni-chan's strength is his pranks, Lillie giggled out, confusing the other blondes. By pranks? She nodded in confirmation. Yes. It takes creativity to do your pranks since you never go for simple. If you applied that creativity with training methods, then his Pokémon could come up with unique tactics to handle most situations. Lucamin finished with her visible green eyes slightly wider. Who would have guessed my troublemaking nephew would have such a strength? Scratching his whiskered cheek in embarrassment, Naruto chuckled sheepishly. I didn't think about that great idea, Lillie-chan. Only Lucamin saw the flushed cheeks the blonde girl had and it made her chuckle. Anyway, I need to get going. Good luck in your gym battle, Naruto-kun. Lillie-chan, take care of yourself. Aye, both younger blondes bid before Lucamin logged off. Well, I suppose I'd better call my parents, Naruto noted, taking a seat in front of the other video phone. I booked us a room already. Nurse Joy should be back with some keys for us. Rest sounds good right now, Lillie sighed out, showing how tired she was from the trip. She leaned her head on his shoulder with a yawn while he dialed home. Akitsu settled herself on Lillie's lap, much to her joy as Kushina answered the call. So, you made it to Pewter, huh? She greeted with a smile. You both must be pretty tired, though. Why didn't you wait until you rested before calling? The deadpan look her son gave her was all the answer she needed, which made her awkwardly cough. So, you think you're ready to tackle your first gym? She asked, changing the subject with an embarrassed blush. I'm going to train with Akitsu and my new Oddish before I take it on. Oddish, eh? Not my first choice in grass types. But this is your team, not mine. She'll be a good addition to the group, Mom. I know it, Naruto defended. She's a fighter, trying to get back up after getting beat by Akitsu-chan. Kushina rose a brow at that. Interesting. What did you name her? Lillie came up with Kusano for me. I thought it fit, the female blonde clarified with a tired smile. Lillie, dear, why don't you go get some rest? We're waiting for our room keys, Naruto informed her. I don't mind being her pillow until then. So long as she gets some rest, then that's fine. Anyway, after you get your first badge, give us another call and we'll send you something from home. That got his interest, as well as Lily's. What will you send him, Aunt Kushina? That's my secret until he wins. Better make sure to give it your all, Naruto-kun. You think I'd giving anything less than 100%? He challenged. Funny, I thought the Uzumaki limit was 110%. She fired back in amusement before she bid them goodbye and logged off. Not long after the call ended, Nurse Joy came over with 2 sets of keys for the 2 blondes. The 2 thanked her before heading up to their room to sleep. It had been a long walk through the forest and they needed their rest. The following day, Naruto was seen with his 2 Pokémon at the Pokémon Center's practice field. Every center had one for trainers to use, being perfectly positioned so that the staff could take care of Pokémon who overworked themselves or got accidentally hurt during training. Okay, we're going to have a practice battle, he informed them, earning nods. Akitsu, you will battle Kusano, and I'll be helping direct her. Sound good? Akitsu gave an affirmative yip before she moved to the other side of the field. Kusano stood in front of Naruto, facing down the ice type with a determined gaze. Remember Kusano, you need to pay attention to both what I'm saying and what's happening around you. Move how you need to, but don't forget to listen to what I tell you. Oddish. She replied, using one of her leaves to salute him excitedly. Good. Looking to Akitsu, he gave a single nod, signaling her to begin the mock battle. Akitsu kicked things off with a quick attack, mixing in a double team to throw off Kusano's concentration. The Oddish faltered for a moment, but she shared a look with her trainer and regained her focus. Okay, hit them all with a razor leaf. He called out, prompting Kusano to take a spinning leap. From her leaves, sharpened blades of grass flew across the field and broke through the illusionary copies of her opponent while the real one leapt over the ones aimed at her. Use sleep powder around yourself. Shuddering in place, Kusano let off a greenish-blue powder that surrounded her like a protective cloud. Not wanting to get caught, Akitsu stopped her charge and took a short hop back before unleashing a powder snow to blow away the slumber-inducing pollen. Push back with sweet scent, Kusano. Naruto ordered, having a random idea pop into his mind. While unsure of what her trainer was planning with her abilities, Kusano let out a delectably smelling aroma that flew forward. To her surprise, the aroma was mixing with the sleep powder and was pushing it forward as well. The mixed dust met its icy combatant and the two powders battled for dominance. Deciding to end it, Akitsu covered herself in a golden aura, using her extrasensory to take hold of her powder snow and press onwards. With the added boost of the psychic-type move, her attack pushed through the slumbering sweet dust and crashed into Kusano, sending her tumbling back into Naruto's legs. "Alright, that's enough," he called out, bending down to help his Oddish get back on her feet. Akitsu ran over and stood beside her fellow Pokémon, looking proud of her victory, while Kusano pouted at her loss. "Hey, none of that, Kusano. This is why we're practicing. This won't be the first time that a psychic type will use a mental move to put things in their favor." She was still pouting before Akitsu nudged her. The ice type gave a firm yip which made the grass poison type drop her pout for a sigh and nod. "So, let's try once more. This time though, no psychic moves, Akitsu-chan." "Lol. Have a nice practice?" Lillie asked when Naruto and his two Pokémon joined her for lunch at the center's cafeteria. "I'd say we did," he replied with a grin, enjoying some instant ramen while his Pokémon enjoyed some orange berries. Kusano needs to relax some more, though. She gets worked up pretty easily. The Oddish paused in her eating, looking sheepish at the critique of her trainer. "And Akitsu? She did great on her own. I've worked with her for months, so she has a solid idea of how I like to use her moves in battle. We're going to need to come up with newer tactics, though. If we keep using the same moves, then it makes it easier for us to be beaten." She nodded in agreement. "Mizuki-chan says that she likes to switch up her battle style often, or else she'll get stuck in a rut." "Sounds like her, alright," he chuckled out, and she giggled alongside him. "Naruto." A girl's voice called out, earning their attention as they looked to another table. Seated was a familiar orange-haired teen. "Who'd have thought I'd see you again in pewter?" "Misty?" he greeted, waving her over to their table. Lillie moved over to sit beside him so that Misty could be seated across from them. "What are you doing here? Weren't you trying to find that kid who destroyed your bike?" "I did find him, and I'm staying with him until he pays me back." Looking around, Lillie tried to find who they could be talking about. "Is he here with you?" Shaking her head, Misty answered, "No, he tried to take on Brock at the gym and lost. He rushed back here to heal up his Pikachu, and I haven't seen him since. He took his loss pretty hard." "He actually tried to face a rock ground gym with an electric type?" Naruto asked in disbelief. "I don't know whether to call him an amateur or cocky." "The former," Misty clarified. "He didn't seem like he knew much about type matchups, and it cost him." "Sounds like it. I'm actually going to be challenging the gym later today." He reached down and pet Akitsu's head, much to her delight, before he brushed his fingers through Kusano's leaves. "I think we've got a really good shot at it." Misty smiled at his Pokémon. "Yeah, you definitely have the type advantages with your team. You going to challenge Brock after lunch?" "No, not right after. I don't want them to get sick. I let them walk some of it off before I challenge the gym." "That's a good idea," she agreed. "So, who's this girl next to you?" "My name is Lillie Either," the female blonde introduced herself, extending a hand to shake. Taking it politely, Misty shook it with a small smile. "Nice to meet you. You traveling with Naruto?" "Yes. We knew each other back in Alola and our parents are close friends. Almost family. Naruto is like an older brother to me. And Lillie-chan is my adorable little Amado," he added, wrapping an arm around her shoulders and nuzzling his whisker-marked cheek against her, making her turn beet red in embarrassment. "Oh Oni-chan." She cried out in mortification, unable to believe that he actually did that in front of someone they barely knew. Misty started laughing at the scene, feeling a sense of familiarity and kinship with Lillie. She grew up with older siblings and she knew how embarrassing they could be. Still, she didn't expect Naruto to be the type to gush over their family. Letting her go with a cheeky grin, Naruto rubbed Lillie's head affectionately, making her face retain its blush. This time, it wasn't out of embarrassment though. But, she wouldn't admit that to him. Lunch after that was a casual affair, with the three young teens just talking about what they thought of pewter so far and what Pokémon they liked. Lillie, having never had a Pokémon to call her own before, was open to seeing which Pokémon she would take a shine to. Misty was a lover of water types, being a fan of water-based sports and enjoying the Pokémon around her as she did them. As for Naruto, he didn't have a preference other than he wanted a team with hidden potential. When Misty asked what he meant, he gave the example of Kusano and how she tried to stand after Akitsu beat her. That determination showed a potential that he was looking for and he knew he wanted her on his team at that moment. That explanation was all Misty needed to hear to see that Naruto would have an interesting team in the future. By the time Naruto had walked off his lunch with his team and Lillie, they saw that a kid with a Pikachu on his shoulder was walking back to town. The two of them had determined looks on their faces, and Naruto caught a watermill in the distance. He said nothing to them and just kept walking, unaware that Naruto and Lillie had stopped walking and turned around to watch him go. That must be the boy that Misty was talking about, Lillie mused. Looks that way, Naruto agreed, turning back to direction of the watermill. I think he was giving his Pikachu some juice. What do you mean? She asked, turning to him before looking where he was. Realization hit her, and she nodded in understanding. I see. Do you think it'll be enough? Against a ground type? No, it won't. Ground types are totally immune to electric types, no matter how charged up they are. That kid's gotta be banking on something if he thinks giving his Pikachu some extra juice will help him win. But that said, both blondes approached the pewter gym, climbing the steps before Naruto opened the door. With Lillie walking behind him, he stepped inside the gym far enough for the lights to turn on and highlight his form. Challenger. A male voice declared as another light turned on, revealing Brock to them. He was a tall young man with dark skin, spiky brown hair, and squinted eyes. He was dressed in an orange t-shirt, a lime green cargo vest with 4 pockets, a dark brown belt with a gold buckle and dark red pockets, brown jeans, and blue-gray sneakers with white trim. Welcome to the Pewter City Gym, home of the rugged rock types. Are you ready for our battle? The greeting was intense and focused, which made Naruto grin foxily. Do you say that to anyone who walks in? I could have just been asking for directions to somewhere, pal. That serious atmosphere was gone, and Brock's face faltered at the casual dismissal of his to him strong greeting. Getting back up and wiping any dust off his clothes, he fired back, and are you just asking for directions? Nah. I'm here to kick your ass and take that badge. Naruto returned, his grin changing from joking to excited. So, let's get things started, gym leader. Brock smirked at his confidence while the gym lit up fully, revealing a rocky battlefield and some bleachers off to the side. Sitting in those bleachers were many young kids who were obviously related to Brock. More than likely siblings. Lillie moved over to the bleachers, sitting down closer to Naruto's side, while the oldest of the children moved over to the referee's podium. This will be a 2-on-2 Pokémon battle between Brock, leader of the Pewter Gym, and the challenger. Only the challenger may switch Pokémon for this battle. Are both trainers ready? Kinda biased to have family be your ref, ain't it? Naruto asked casually, unclipping a Pokeball from his belt. Maybe, but I trust my brother to be a fair judge, and I will call the match in your favor if he isn't, Brock promised, giving a firm look to his sibling who cringed. I'll be fair. Promise. Naruto chuckled at the boy's nerves. Relax, kid. Just start the match. Taking a breath, the boy raised up a red and green flag in both hands with a yell of, begin. Play Pokémon RB Wiry Mix. Gym leader battle by Pokémon Studios. Geodude, I choose you. Brock called out, throwing out his Pokémon. It looked like a large rock with a face and 2 arms. Kusano, let's go. Naruto returned, sending out his Oddish who stood tall and proud in front of her trainer. Kick things off with Sweet Scent. Curling her leaves over her head and shuddering, a pink cloud of pollen formed over Kusano before she unleashed it as a mist that spread out from her position. Using her leaves as fans, she directed the mist onwards so that it could start to cover the entire field. Geodude, use rollout. Dude. The rock type cried, curling itself into a rugged ball shape that rolled forward, ignoring the pleasant aroma as it rapidly approached Kusano. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Naruto smirk and nod, which made her smirk as well. Curling her leaves downward, she had the tops of them press against the ground and coil themselves in preparation as her opponent drew closer. Steady, Naruto murmured so only she could hear. Not yet. Kusano stared at Geodude as it kept rapidly closing in, less than a meter from her position. When half the distance was cut, he called out, now. Using her leaves to propel her body into the air, she flipped over the rolling rock ground type, who was taking a wide turn to continue its attack. As this was going on, the sweet scent was still mixing into the air around them, and it was starting to affect the Geodude. Its rolling was slowing down, leaving him wide open. Alright, Kusano, Naruto began, grinning before stretching his hand out, finish it off with Razor Leaf. Odd, she drew out, twisting her body before leaping up, unleashing both the tension and a flurry of sharpened leaves. Dish. The leaves flew across the field, and Brock tried to warn his Pokémon of the danger. Geodude, uncurl yourself and dodge. The rock ground type tried to comply with the order, but as soon as it uncurled itself, it was hit by the full smell of the sweet scent before the Razor Leaf met its mark. The grass type attack struck its face and sent it tumbling back, crashing into one of the rocky outcroppings that littered the battlefield. Its bulk easily broke through, which only served to damage it further before it slowed to a stop, laying on its back with swirled eyes. Geodude is unable to battle. Brock's brother called out, raising the red flag in his left hand. The challenger's Pokémon wins. Nice job, Kusano. Naruto called out. Great work, you two. Lillie added from the bleachers, clapping for them while Brock's other siblings grumbled at the loss. Brock returned his Geodude to its Pokeball, smiling at the sphere in his hand. Nice work, buddy. You get some rest. He then reached for another Pokeball clipped to his belt. Are you sticking with your Oddish? Heal up for another round, Kusano. Naruto asked his Pokémon, who nodded with a determined smile, turning around so that she could face whoever was next. That's a yes, Brock. I admire her confidence, he complimented, raising his Pokeball so that it faced them both. However, let's see how she handles my Onix. Releasing the Pokémon from its ball, the building-sized snake made of connecting rocks roared at them in all its glory. Naruto's violet eyes were wide at the sight, having never seen an Onix before. As for Kusano, she too had her eyes wide at who her opponent was. And she wasn't feeling so confident anymore, given the differences in size and ferocity between herself and the rock ground type. Begin the second match. The young ref declared. Onix, use dig. Brock ordered quickly, prompting the rocky snake to burrow underground headfirst. Stay calm and try to feel any vibrations, Kusano. Naruto advised, frowning when he felt tremors from the Pokémon's digging. He saw that his Pokémon was trying to stay on her feet, but the tremors were throwing her off balance. Kusano, jump now. She was able to plant her feet for a split second and prepared to jump, but the ground beneath her cracked and Onix shot out from below her. Bashing her with his solid head, she was sent hurtling into the air before Onix used its tail to smash her back to the ground. Kusano. Naruto cried in panic, seeing the dust pick up from her impact, as well as some small rocks getting kicked up. When the dust cleared, he choked on his breath when he saw that she was badly bruised and knocked unconscious. Oddish is unable to battle. Brock's brother called out, sounding noticeably happier than when he declared his brother's loss. Onix is the winner of the second match. With a faint growl, Naruto returned his Pokémon and gripped her Pokeball tightly. You were awesome, Kusano. We'll keep getting stronger, I promise. Looking down beside him, he saw that Akitsu was growling at the Onix, clearly angry at the beating her fellow Pokémon had taken. Alright, girl. Let's show them what Alola is made of. Ball. She cried in agreement, leaping onto the field and crouching low in a ready stance. The white Vulpix? Brock asked slowly, never hearing of such a thing before. Don't be so focused on her coloration, Naruto warned, his brows furrowed as he tightened his headband. That's the least of your concerns right now, gym leader. Brock frowned at the attitude the blonde had before he thought back on the match. Maybe Onix was a bit too rough on his Oddish, although, if he gets this worked up from one of his Pokémon getting hurt, then he won't last long in future gym battles. Let the final match begin. He heard his brother declare, getting him to refocus on the battle. Akitsu, hail. Naruto ordered, and the small vixen complied as the blues of her eyes gained a whitish sheen. Above the battlefield, storm clouds began to form, bringing along some misty fog as small shards of ice began to rain down. Now, use double team. Akitsu's form shimmered before illusionary copies of herself began to appear throughout the field. Each of them being revealed as the fog rolled around. Onix tried to locate the real one before it winced as some sharpened ice rained down on its large body. Onix, go for dig once more. Brock ordered, and the Onix was all too happy to comply. With her opponent out of sight, Akitsu stood her ground and awaited instruction from her partner. Okay, Akitsu, she heard Naruto say from the mist, concentrate and try to find that snake. She and her copies all nodded, closing their eyes to drown everything else out. Their ears twitched and their bodies were tense as they tried to hear or feel the rocky serpent moving underground. After a moment, she and the copies all perked up just in time for the Onix to break out from the surface and dispel one of the illusions. Quick, use Confuse Ray. Locking eyes with the Onix, her blue orbs flashed once, and she saw the black pupils of the snake's eyes go dull as the status ailment took effect. With its movements flustered, the Onix began to attack the ground, slamming its head and body onto the field and damaging itself, while the icy shards of hail kept pelting its body. Onix, snap out of it. Brock tried to order, but his words weren't getting through to his Pokémon. He gritted his teeth at the damage his Onix was taking, but his expression changed to surprise when he saw the raining ice shards gain a golden glow before they moved over to Akitsu and began to orbit around her like a protective ring. While the icy shard circled her, the mist and clouds dispersed and revealed Naruto standing calmly with a small frown on his face. Extrasensory, he declared softly, and Akitsu complied with a sharp cry of her name, sending all of the collected hail towards Onix like a flurry of wind and sharp ice. Onix, move. He tried to order, seeing how his Pokémon had finally snapped out of its confusion. But, it was too late, and the rock-ground Pokémon was assaulted by a furious barrage of ice that hit its weak typing and sent it crashing down. Onix, no. When the frigid dust from the impact cleared, Brock was left in shock at his Pokemon's unconscious state, while his brother called out in disbelief, "Oh, Onyx is unable to continue." Slowly, he raised the flag in Naruto's favor and finished, "The winner is the challenger." Lillie gave a sigh of relief at her surrogate brother's victory, but a part of her felt it was slightly bitter for him. She had seen his reaction to Kusano getting hurt like that, and she knew that he must have been upset at how hurt she was. However, when she saw him take a breath and give a small smile, she smiled as well. She never liked seeing Naruto upset. Having seen him like that once and finding it one time too many. Standing up, she moved over to him while Akitsu jumped onto his shoulder and nuzzled his head with her body. "Congrats, Ani-chan," she said softly. "Yeah, this was my first major battle. So, I should have expected my Pokémon to get hurt. But still." "I know," she replied, placing a hand on his arm to show her support. "I'm just glad you stayed calm." "Me too." They heard someone clear their throat and they turned to see Brock standing in front of them with a small case in his hand. "This is for you," he explained, handing Naruto the case and opening it to display his earned boulder badge. "Great match, and sorry about your oddish." "No, don't be. I shouldn't have expected this journey to go without my Pokémon or me getting hurt." He gave Brock a small smile and offered him his fist. "Bygones." Brock smiled back and bumped fists with Naruto. "Bygones. So, I had a question about your Vulpix. She's an ice type that can only be found in the Alola region, where I was born," he answered the unasked question. "You wouldn't believe how many times I've had to say that and how many more times I'm expecting to say it." Both young men chuckled at that while Lillie smiled. "Well, she's definitely been raised properly by you. You should be proud." "I'm always going to be proud of Akitsu-chan," Naruto declared, earning a happy nuzzle from her. Giving the man a nod, he and Lillie began to leave the gym while Naruto waved over his shoulder. "Thanks for the match, Brock. Keep your ear out for more victories by Naruto Uzumaki of the Alola region." Brock chuckled at the confidence the whiskered blonde exuded. "I'll be sure to do that," he said aloud, heading back to his siblings to get his Pokémon ready for any other challengers. Later that night, Naruto was seen phoning home while Lillie was asleep in their room. "Tada. First badge of Kanto," he declared as he showed his parents the boulder badge. "Nice work, son," Minato praised. "Sorry I missed your other call." "It's fine, Dad. I'm guessing you were called for advice again." Despite Minato being medically discharged from the Alolan police force, he still received calls from the current chief when it concerned more difficult cases. Minato was happy to answer them, seeing them as a way to still be part of the force. "No, not this time. I was actually called by Professor Kukui. He says that he's setting up a Pokémon League in Alola and he wanted to invite you to challenge it after you finish Kanto's Indigo League." "Really?" Naruto asked in surprise. "I'd love to, but I thought I'd need to take on the island challenges before taking on the league." "He decided to make an exception," Kushina clarified. "He said that Mizuki is going to wait until you finish the Indigo League so that she could challenge the Alola League with you." That made Naruto grin. "I guess I'd better get the badges quicker then." "Don't be too hasty, son," Minato admonished. "Haste makes waste." Yeah, I know." Kushina looked amused when Minato huffed at his advice being brushed off so casually. "Anyway, since you got your first badge, I'm going to send over what I've been holding onto for you. Hang on." From his end of the video call, Naruto saw his mother place a package on the item transfer device and activate it. Beside the screen, he saw the same device activate before the light showing a received delivery flashed. Opening the casing, he pulled out the package and showed it to his parents. "Got it? Well, go ahead and open it," Kushina urged him with a smile that was shared by her husband. Naruto opened the box and pulled out a rounded object covered in cloth. Unfolding the cloth, his eyes widened when he saw an icy stone. This is." "Yes, it's an ice stone. When you're sure that you and Akitsu are ready for that next step, then you can use this to make her evolve." "Mom," he slowly recovered the stone in its cloth, raising his head to show his parents the smile he had. "Thanks." "Of course, sweetheart. Now, your father and I are going to get to bed. Give us a call again when you get to the next city. Cerulean City should be easy to get to after you get through Mount Moon," Minato added. "Try and help Lillie catch a Pokémon there, yeah?" "And Lucamin asked you to pass that message?" Naruto asked curiously. "Yes, but we want her to have a Pokémon too," he replied with a smile. "Good night, son." "Sleep well, dear," Kushina bid before she ended the call. Leaning back in the chair he was seated in, Naruto looked down at the clothed stone resting in the box on his lap. Slowly closing the box back up, he headed back to his room for the night. As he slept, he had dreams of his little Akitsu growing from a cute Vulpix to a beautiful Ninetales, standing tall beside him as they looked to the sea from Alolan shores. And those dreams made him smile. "Ready to go?" Naruto asked Lillie the following morning, shouldering his pack while Akitsu sat beside his leg. Adjusting her own pack, Lillie gave her fellow blonde a smile and nod, prompting both to make their way east of Pewter City, towards the entrance of Mount Moon. First, they would have to cut through Route 3, which was long enough to allow trainers to prepare their Pokémon for the winding cavern that waited for them. So, it's rumored that Mount Moon was where Clefairy was first discovered after it crashed down from space, Lillie informed Naruto, reading through a brochure on the mountain she got from the Pokémon Center. There is also a strangely high count of meteor showers that can be seen falling towards its summit. That's pretty cool, Naruto responded, grinning at the information. Think we'll run into any Clefairy in there? Oh, I hope so. I've seen pictures and videos of them, and I've always wanted a Clefairy. Naruto perked up at that, turning to look at Lillie over his shoulder. Alright then. Before we leave, I'll make sure to help you find one to catch. Lol. Akitsu agreed determinedly. You will? Lillie asked in slight surprise before her cheeks dusted pink when she felt Naruto reach over and ruffle the top of her head affectionately. Of course, I will. It'd be kinda messed up if I didn't help my Amato-chan when she needed it. Puffing her cheeks, she crossed her arms and turned away from him. You know I don't like you calling me that. He chuckled. I know. But, if I let you call me Ani-chan, it's only fair that I call you a fitting name in response. She huffed and resumed walking, passing him with an annoyed blush before he followed with another chuckle. They nearly erupted into laughs when he heard her grumbling about stupid Ani-chan. Akitsu jumped onto his shoulder and settled herself as he followed Lillie, enjoying the warmth he gave off. Comfy, girl? He asked, earning a nuzzle in reply. That's good. Why don't we let Kusano out for some exercise? When she nodded, Naruto released the Oddish from her Pokeball, the grass poison type looking pleased to be in the warm sunlight. Oddish. She greeted cheerfully. Had a feeling you'd like some fresh air, Kusano-chan. You excited for Mount Moon? She nodded firmly, showing that she was ready for anything. That's what I want to see. He praised, never noticing Lillie looking back with a smile at how he interacted with his Pokémon. So, let's get moving. To Mount Moon we go. All. Dish. His Pokémon cheered with him. It took them over an hour of walking to get through Route 3, no thanks to some trainers challenging them to Pokémon battles. While they cut into their time, Naruto was glad that his Pokémon got some exercise and practice under their belts. They stopped for a short rest at the entrance, with Lillie using some medicine to help Akitsu and Kusano, before Naruto returned the grass poison type to her ball. Hey, is it me, or does the cave not seem as dark as I thought it should? Naruto asked aloud to Lillie, who looked to the entrance. The two blondes saw that, while it was dark, it wasn't as obscured by the natural darkness as it should have been. Maybe someone has a lantern set near the entrance. Lillie suggested, earning a shrug from Naruto as they both stepped inside. Once they walked through the natural entrance, they saw that some lights had been strung on the sidewalls of the cavern, giving an artificial light that ruined the natural atmosphere. This can't be good for any Pokémon who live here. It isn't. Look, Naruto replied, pointing to a colony of blue-colored bats that were flying around in a daze. Some of the little blue bats were so disoriented by the artificial lights that they flew into the walls. Holding out his Pokédex, Naruto gathered information on them. Zubat. The bat Pokémon. While living in pitch-black caverns, their eyes gradually grew shut and deprived them of vision. They use ultrasonic waves to detect obstacles. One in particular, who appeared smaller than the average Pokémon in the colony, flew into one of the lights and broke the glass bulb with its wing. The heated light inside burned the Zubat's wing, making it screech in pain before falling to the floor. It struggled to get up, trying to flap its wings before hissing in pain. The rest of the colony moved on as best they could, ignoring the cries of their fallen brother and retreating to safer areas of Mount Moon's caverns. Naruto frowned sadly at that, slowly walking over to the Zubat and crouching down next to him. Hey, buddy, he greeted gently, earning his attention. You look pretty hurt. Why don't you let me and my friend take a look at that wing of yours? He hissed at them and tried to take off, but his wings barely let him hover above the ground before the burn became too much. It tumbled ungracefully and gave a frustrated cry before trying again and again. Each time was the same, gradually getting worse as the pain of his burn and his growing exhaustion made him continuously fall back down. After the 10th attempt, the Zubat laid where he fell, weakly raising its head towards where his colony had flown towards. He felt vibrations in the ground and smelled the human from before crouched beside him once again. If you let us heal your wing, we'll help find your colony too, little guy, Naruto promised, waiting for a response. The Zubat regarded the human silently for some time, smelling him out and listening to his heartbeat thanks to his superior hearing. After his moment of silent contemplation, he gave a short nod and allowed the human to pick him up and carry him over to the scent of the female human traveling with him. But any burn heals, Lillie-chan. "Hang on," she replied, searching through her pack after putting aside the incubator and egg her mother gave her. After some searching, she smiled and pulled out a spritz bottle with a red-colored liquid inside. "Here we go. You mind spraying it while I hold his wing open?" Naruto requested, using one hand to rub the Zubit's head while the other gently eased his wing open. A couple of spritzes later and the burn was already showing signs of healing. "Sweet. Now, you just gotta rest that wing for a little while and then you'll be back up and flying in no time." The Zubit flexed his wings warily and, to his pleasant surprise, he found that his wing didn't hurt nearly as bad as it had before. This stunned him, for he hadn't met humans who were this kind to his colony or other Zubit colonies. Most either knocked them out left and right or chased them off. But these two were different. Tired grunts were heard mixed with the sounds of cavern walls being dug into. The culprits behind these noises were two young adults dressed in matching uniforms, save for alterations between genders. The woman was a retard with long hair that swept in a graceful curve and stopped just below her backside. The man had blue hair that was cut just above his shoulders and framed his face perfectly. Beside them, walking on two legs, was a cream-colored feline Pokémon with brown fur on the tips of his hind legs and his slightly curled tail. He had 6 prominent whiskers with 4 poking out from the sides of his face and the final 2 pointed upwards, framing a golden coin that had a brilliant sheen to it. On his head, like the two humans, was a bum cap with a light attached while he was using a pickaxe alongside them. These three were Jesse, James, and Meath of the infamous Team Rocket, a criminal organization that had originated in the Kanto region. Though, they were rumored to have members in various other regions. "Anything?" Jesse asked, her voice showing tired annoyance. "Nothing," James answered with a grunt as he struck the wall once more. "You'd think that a cavern named after the Moonstone would have a wellspring of them for the taking. We just gotta dig deeper," Meath exclaimed, putting more effort into his swings. "I swear I saw a Clefairy earlier and they're known to worship the original Moonstone. If we can find that and give it to the boss." The Pokémon let the statement hang and his human companions both smirked in agreement. Nodding as one, the three resumed their digging with more gusto than before. "Let's see if we can do anything about these lights," Naruto mused, reaching up to pull a section of them down. When he saw that they were all connected, an idea passed through his mind. "Akitsu, come here." When she went over, Naruto used a pocket knife to cut the casing surrounding the wires open, showing the exposed wires to the Vulpix. Getting the idea, she waited for him to set them down and get clear before she hit the wires with some snow. The frost melted and the water short-circuited the wires before the lights went out, the darkness covering the caverns as the lights turned off down the line. "It looks like whoever set up these lights went down that way," Lillie mused, pulling out a glow stick to give them a light source. One that was more environmentally friendly. "We should probably look." She gasped out, raising the glow stick to try and light up the area more. Turning to where she was looking, Naruto's violet eyes widened at what Lillie had noticed. Walking around before them was a bipedal pink Pokémon with a chubby, vaguely star-shaped body. A small pointed tooth protruded from the upper left corner of its mouth and it had wrinkles beside its black oval eyes. Dark pink oval markings were seen on its cheeks and it had 2 small wings and some large pointed ears with brown tips. A tuft of fur curled over its forehead, much like its large upward curling tail, while each stocky arm had 2 small claws and a thumb on each hand, and each of its feet had a single toenail. "That's a Clefairy," Naruto exclaimed quietly, holding up his Pokédex. "Clefairy. The fairy Pokémon. On every night of a full moon, they come out to play. When dawn arrives, the tired Clefairy go to sleep nestled up against each other in deep and quiet mountains." "Oh, it's so cute." Lillie gushed, making sure not to do so too loudly. She didn't want to surprise the Pokémon. "Naruto, you have to catch it for me. Please." "You don't have any Pokémon that can battle, do you?" he asked, earning a headshake from her. "Okay, then." He pulled out a Pokeball and handed it to her. "I'll try and weaken it for you. When I tell you to, throw that ball and see if it'll capture it." She nodded eagerly before setting her features into a firm yet adorable look of determination. "I'm ready." Nodding back, Naruto turned back to the fairy Pokémon and declared, "Akitsu, use powder snow." After a deep inhale, the ice type let out a burst of snow with a cry of, "Pix." The Clefairy looked to them in surprise when she heard the cry, leaping to the side to avoid the attack. With a squeak of fear, she turned tail and started to run, followed by the 2 humans and Pokémon. The Zubid had decided to nestle himself in Naruto's hair, observing the scene without a care. It wasn't like he could fly off until his wing was better, anyway. "Keep at it, Akitsu." "Vulpix," she replied, sending out burst after burst of powderized snow at the fairy Pokémon, who frantically dodged them and kept heading deeper into the caverns. "I was hoping we wouldn't have to chase it." Lillie despaired, feeling guilty. "I didn't want to scare it." "Hey, you wanted a Clefairy and this is the best opportunity now," Naruto replied before turning back to the Clefairy. Akitsu cut it off with quick attack. The ice vixen nodded before she blurred forward, racing past the fairy type before stopping directly in her path, making the Clefairy hop back in surprise before she noticed that she was cut off on both sides. She gave a whimper and backed herself against the wall, looking absolutely terrified. Lillie saw this and felt her guilt skyrocket, prompting her to place her arm in front of Naruto to hold him off. With careful steps, she approached the Clefairy before crouching down in front of her, making her hide behind her stubby arms. "It's okay," she whispered, making the Pokémon peek at her. "I'm sorry that we frightened you. But I was hoping to catch you in this." The confession was supported by Lillie showing the Clefairy the empty Pokeball. "I've seen pictures, heard rumors, and read all about Clefairy before I came here to the Kanto region. They always fascinated me with how they could have come from space." Lillie had her attention, and the Clefairy slowly lowered her arms to her chest. Smiling, the blonde continued, "I know that catching you will be a big change, and I hope you're willing to forgive us for chasing you. But, if you come with us, I promise that I'll take very good care of you so that you can be the best Clefairy you can be. I want to become a Pokémon trainer like my Ani-chan, and I think that you'll help me get there." "Right?" the fairy type replied, sounding unsure. "I promise to be there for you if you'll be there for me," Lillie finished, holding out the Pokeball to the Clefairy. She set the ball down and took a step back, giving the Pokémon the choice. Black eyes shifted between the Pokeball and the human girl before them, taking occasional glances at the boy behind the girl and the strangely colored Vulpix that had moved back over to his side. They then looked up to the Zubat resting in spiky hair, tilting her head at him curiously before turning her attention back to Lillie. Slowly, she approached the Pokeball and picked it up in her hands, staring into her reflection on the red top of the sphere. She gave a final look to Lillie, locking eyes with her and seeing the genuine kindness in them. Slowly smiling, she made her decision and poked the button on the Pokeball, letting herself be sucked into the device before it pinged. Grinning, Naruto stepped up to his friend and patted her back. "Congrats, Lillie-chan. You've gotten your first Pokémon." Shocked green eyes were locked on the Pokeball for a few moments before Lillie moved over to it and picked it up. Pressing the button gingerly, she let out her new Pokémon and saw the Clefairy smiling brightly at her. "Fairy. Clefairy." she greeted, moving over to hug Lillie's leg. Her eyes grew misty as she reached down and picked up the Pokémon. "You're my first Pokémon," she whispered in disbelief, yet there was an immense feeling of happiness in her voice. Hugging the Pokémon to her, she cheered out, "I've gotten my first Pokémon." Naruto smiled softly at his pseudo-sister, happy for her and the joy she was feeling. He was the same way when Akitsu had hatched from her egg, hugging her close and cheering repeatedly how they would be the best partners in history. Feeling something brush his leg, he looked down and saw Akitsu nuzzling her head against him before giving him an understanding smile. He grinned back at her before reaching down to pet her head and scratch her ears. She purred at his touch, relishing in the feeling of her best friend and partner. Unknown to everyone, the Zubat had observed everything from atop the Uzumaki's head. Having decided to give her new Clefairy the name Pippi, Lillie let her first Pokémon stay out of her Pokeball and walk around with them as they continued traversing the caverns of Mount Moon. It helped that Pippi took the lead so that her new partner wouldn't get lost in the maze of tunnels. "Hey, Pippi," Naruto began, earning the Clefairy's attention, "have you seen a colony of Zubat? They would have been dazed by the lights that were strung up earlier. This guy," he pointed to the Zubat on his head, "was part of that colony and we were going to help him get back to them." Pippi nodded in understanding before she took on a thinking posture, trying to recall if she saw such a colony. After a moment's thought, she frowned sadly and shook her head. "It's okay," Lillie assured her. "It was probably hard to notice since those lights were messing with so many Pokémon." "Yeah, when I find the people who put up those lights, I'm giving them a piece of my mind," Naruto vowed. "Just make sure to hear them out at least, Ani-chan." "No promises." Resuming their trek, Pippi led them to another fork in the path. But, she looked noticeably confused at the sight. "What's wrong, Pippi-chan?" Lillie asked, earning an unsure coo from the fairy type. Turning back to Naruto, she said, "I think one of these paths wasn't here before." Meaning that either a Pokémon dug it recently or someone else did it to dig deeper. Moonstones are pretty valuable, after all. I wouldn't be surprised if more and more tunnels were made in search of them. What should we do? Well, we can't split up. You haven't gotten any practice in battling and I don't feel comfortable leaving you by yourself. He took a moment to think about which path to take, leaning back against the wall as he did so. The Zubat on his head rose up slightly, stretching out his wings and testing them out. To his joy, his once burnt wing had been healed and no longer hurt as he flapped it. So, getting airborne, he flew off Naruto's head and hovered between the two paths, earning the attention of everyone else. A high-pitched cry echoed from him, making Akitsu whine and flatten her ears with her forepaws. Naruto narrowed his eyes and waited for the Zubit to act, widening them when the poison flying type turned back to them with a pleased look and tilted his head to the rightmost path. You sure? Nodding, the Zubit floated over to the entrance of the path, screeching at them to follow. Alright then. Ready to go, everyone. I'm ready, Lillie answered while Pippi and Akitsu both nodded. Smiling at them, Naruto turned back to the Zubit and said, lead the way, buddy. The bad Pokémon stilled for a moment at the warmth it felt before mentally shaking it off and leading the others down the path. However, a small part couldn't fully shake off how he felt. And it felt nice. I told you to get better lights, James, Jessie admonished as she and Meath watched the man look at the wiring and the lights they brought. The wires are fried, James informed them. Something must have caused them to short circuit in a different part, which affected them all since they were linked. Wonderful, the Redeed groused sarcastically. Well, at least we still have our helmet lights, Meath pointed out before has started to flicker. Or maybe not. Crap. Dig faster, you two. Jessie ordered in panic, prompting the trio to pick at the wall in a frenzy. Amazingly, their growing fear of losing their lights gave them the strength to break through the wall they were working on. And on the other side of that was a rocky clearing with a massive grey stone on some sort of pedestal. Still following the Zubit, the Owlin blondes ran through the tunnels he guided them through. As they moved, Naruto took note of something hanging on the walls when he raised his glow stick. Lillie, there are more of those lights hung up here. Do you think Zubit is leading us to whoever put them up? She asked. Probably. I just hope there's a way out down this path. The Zubit slowed to a stop, hovering around an exit way and the end of the light strings. He looked back to the blondes before moving to float in front of Naruto. The two regarded one another silently, saying nothing for a moment before Naruto grinned at him. Thanks for the help, buddy. Go ahead and find your missing colony. We can make our way out from here. Reaching his hand out, he gently patted the bat's head. Good luck. Hope you find your friends. With that, he and Lillie led their Pokémon through the opening while the Zubit turned to watch them leave. Confliction swam through his mind as he considered what to do. The colony helped raise him, but they rarely helped a member if something happened to them. Usually leaving them to handle it on their own. On the other hand, the two humans he had spent his recent time with were nice people. They helped heal his wing and let him travel with them as it healed. Plus, there was this strange underlying warmth he couldn't shake off when he was around them. Looking down the path behind him, he gave a supersonic cry and waited for anyone to respond. When nothing happened, he knew what to do. It's beautiful, Lillie finished in a whisper as they witnessed the fabled moonstone before them, fittingly highlighted by the full moon of the night. Pippi, look. Very. Pippi cheered, having seen the stone before. Still, she was pleased that her new friends liked it. Naruto noticed some smaller pieces of the large space rock on the ground, reaching down to pick one up. Hey Pippi. You mind if I take one of these? I only want one. She nodded, not seeing a problem with it. She then turned to Lillie questioningly, only to earn a headshake from her. I don't need one. I prefer you as a Clefairy. You're cuter this way. Pippi's cheeks grew rosy and she held them with an embarrassed coo, making Naruto and Lillie laugh. The moment was cut short when Akitsu perked up and growled at the rock, making Naruto frown towards it. Alright. Whoever is out there, come out. He ordered. This is an important relic to the Clefairy. Damn, it's a pair of twerps, a female voice groused as two people and an upright Meath moved into view from behind the moonstone. Well, we're out. What now, kid? Who are you guys? Why were you hiding behind the moonstone and why did you set up those lights? Naruto questioned, frowning at them. Play Team Rocket theme from the Pokémon anime. Smirking, the two humans stood back to back with their arms crossed. You want to know, huh? Well, if you really want to, then prepare for trouble. And make it double. The blue-haired man continued. To protect the world from devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the stars above. The woman's smirk grew as she said Jessie. The man pulled a single rose from somewhere and held it dramatically close to his face as he continued in James. We're Team Rocket, blasting off at the speed of light. So, surrender now or prepare to fight. Meath. That's right. The Pokémon finished, surprising Naruto and Lillie at how it spoke in human tongue. Stop music. Wait, Team Rocket. Naruto repeated before glaring at them. So, you're all part of the crime syndicate here in the Kanto region. Guilty as charged, Jessie replied. And if you don't mind, we're in the middle of a job. So, beat it. Like hell I will. Akitsu, let's take care of them. Play vs. Team Rainbow Rocket from Ultra Sun Moon. Ball. She cried in response, leaping in front of her partner and landing in a low crouch with a growl. The trio of criminals blinked at the sight of a white Vulpix. Hey, what gives? Meath called out. Your Pokémon ain't right, twerp. Giving them a smirk of his own, the Uzumaki fired back, says you. Akitsu, use icy wind. Vulpix. The ice vixen cried after a deep inhale, unleashing a gust of frigid air at them. Diving away from the ice-type attack, Jesse and James pulled out their own Pokeballs and sent out their Pokémon. Go, Ekans coughing. The Ekans was a purple snake with a yellow rattle tail and matching yellow eyes. Coughing was a purple Pokémon in a ball shape that had many openings that let out a noxious smoke. TCH. Poison types Lillie, keep Pippi out of this fight. Hey, that Repet has a Clefairy. Meowth revealed, bringing out his claws and leaping towards Lillie and Pippi. Let's see how you like my fury swipes. Pippi, use a you use Lillie tried to command, but she fell short when she didn't know what move to use. Use defense curl. Naruto ordered before turning to his own battle. Akitsu, use hail followed by double team. Pippi covered herself with her arms and projected a spherical field of energy around her, lessening the damage Meowth threw at her, while Akitsu called forth drops of hail before casting illusionary copies of herself. Meowth growled at his attack being lessened, pouncing on Pippi and gnawing at her protective shell with a bite attack. Pippi. Use disarming voice. Lillie called out, having pulled out her own Pokédex and checking the moves her Pokémon knew currently. The Clefairy's eyes gained a pink hue as she let out a shrill cry that blew Meowth away, making him tumble along the ground before he righted himself. Geez, that hurt you ball of dough. He cried, readying his claws again before charging. Meanwhile, Akitsu was having trouble dealing with her opponents simultaneously. Coughing had used Smog to deal with illusions, while Ekans had used Dig to hide from view. She felt a tremor beneath her and quickly dove away as Ekans burst from the ground and tried to bite her. Akitsu, use extrasensory to pick up Ekans. Naruto ordered, prompting his partner to gain a golden glow around her form and in her eyes. The Ekans gained a similar glow as it was forcibly lifted off the ground. Now, launch it at the coughing. Ball. Akitsu cried, using her psychic-type attack to slingshot Ekans into Coughing's direction, nailing the poison gas Pokémon and sending both poison types into the wall surrounding the chamber they were in. Ekans, get up and use Toxic. Jesse demanded. And Coughing, you use Smokescreen. Untangling themselves, they both glared at the Vulpix and attacked. Ekans sent forth a shot of corrosive violet liquid, while Coughing unleashed a cloud of black smoke that hid both Pokémon from sight. Akitsu, duck. Naruto ordered, and she obeyed, letting the shot of toxic sail safely over her form and land on the ground behind her. Blow away the smoke with icy wind. Vulpix. She complied, using her ice-type attack to clear away the cloud and revealed nothing. Team Rocket and their two poison types were gone. Stop music. Crap. They got away. Naruto cursed before he noticed something else missing. And they took the moonstone. Hey, you guys. Meowth cried, noticing that he had been left behind. Wait up, will ya? Following after them, he rushed through another natural pathway of Mount Moon, quickly tailed by Naruto, Lillie, and their Pokémon. You're not getting away. Lillie declared, holding Pippi in her arms so that the fairy type wouldn't lag behind. Akitsu had leapt onto Naruto's shoulder as he ran, glaring at the retreating normal type. Get back here. Naruto ordered before a screech caught his attention. Looking to the side, he saw that the Zubid he and Lillie had helped was flying next to him. Zubid. You followed us. The poison flying type nodded before he flapped harder to get in front of the two blondes before he let out a grinding screech attack. The narrowed passage of the tunnel let the sound wave travel with ease and crash into Meowth, who stumbled and held his ringing ears before Zubid followed up with a wing attack. Nice job. Naruto praised, seeing the Scratch Cat Pokémon get knocked out by the combo attack. Akitsu, freeze his paws together real quick. Vulpix, she replied with a nod before she used powder snow to cover Meowth's paws in ice and lock them together. Great. Now, let's keep moving. Zubid, can you see if Team Rocket is still close? Zubid. He replied before letting out a supersonic trill, the sound waves bouncing off the walls and traveling ahead. After a moment, he perked up and nodded once before taking off. Lillie, let's go. Right. She affirmed before following her friend after the bat Pokémon. They ran as fast as they could, chasing after Team Rocket and catching up with them just in time for the duo and their Pokémon to be halted by a small group of Clefairy with an Onyx residing behind them and looking rather angry. I think we took the wrong passage, Jesse whimpered, intimidated by the size of the rock snake Pokémon. Why you said it, James agreed. Boy. Naruto called out, earning their attention. Last chance. Give back the moonstone and we'll let you go. Your buddy is stuck in the caverns behind us. Looks like they took care of Meowth, James grumbled. You really expect us to believe that you can convince that thing to let us walk away? Jesse questioned skeptically, gesturing to the glowering Onyx. Naruto turned to the rock ground type, locking his violet eyes with its black ones. If they surrender the stone, will you let them leave? The Onyx growled at the notion before the Clefairy in front of it gave pleading coos. With a final growl, it reluctantly nodded and shifted slightly away from Team Rocket. "There," Naruto declared. "Now, you two can pack up and get out." TCH. To think we have to accept some pitiful mercy from a damnable twerp, Jessie groused before she returned her Ekans and James returned his coughing. The duo got down from the moonstone and slowly circled around it while Naruto and Lillie circled as well, standing close to the relic. "Don't think this changes anything, twerp. We'll deal with you next time." James finished before the duo took off down the caverns to pick up Meowth and leave Mount Moon. Letting out a breath he didn't know he held, Naruto turned to the group of Pokémon with a smile. "Thanks for cutting them off, you guys. And I'm sorry we let them get the stone in the first place." One of the Clefairy waved him off with a smile before turning to the Onyx and gesturing to the moonstone with a pushing motion. The Rock Snake Pokémon nodded before it started to shove the stone back down the path with its broad head. The group of Clefairy gave polite bows to the two blondes and their Pokémon before following the Onyx. Though, the one that had made the request stayed back for a moment, looking to Pippi and Lillie's arms. The two shared a silent conversation before the wild Clefairy smiled and gave a single nod in understanding. She then directed her smile to Lillie and Naruto before catching up with her fellow fairy types. "Well, that was a thing," Naruto joked with a sheepish chuckle. "A big thing," Lillie agreed with a giggle before she turned around and gave a sigh of relief at the exit ahead. "Looks like we made it through the mountain." "That's good to see. Cerulean City should be a short walk from the exit," Naruto pointed out before he felt a tug on his shirt. Turning, he saw that it was the Zubit that had done it. "Oh, right. Thanks again for your help, buddy. We really needed it." The Zubit said nothing and simply floated in front of Naruto's face, studying the blonde Uzumaki for a few moments before nodding to himself with a sense of finality. His mind made up, he descended to Naruto's belt and used his wing to knock a Pokeball onto the ground before nudging the button with his head. The ball shook just once before it pinged, signaling how the Zubit was successfully captured. Blinking in surprise, Naruto picked up the occupied Pokeball and let out the Zubit again, seeing it greet him happily. "You want to join us, do you?" A firm nod was his answer. "It won't be easy, you know. I'm aiming for the very top. To be the best in Kanto." Another nod. "You have what it takes to help me get there, then?" A third nod, accompanied by a determined cry. Naruto grinned at the small bat and declared, "Then welcome to the group, Shiina." 2. The newly named Zubit did an excited loop in place with another determined cry. He then settled himself once more in Naruto's hair, earning a chuckle from the Uzumaki as he turned to his friend. "Another one for the team," he stated. "You're halfway done, Ani-chan," she replied. "Yep, but no matter who fills the remaining 3 spots, we'll all reach the top and show Kanto that we're number 1, Tebeo." "Vulpix!" Akitsu exclaimed. A burst of light came from Naruto's belt and Kusano revealed herself with an excited expression. "Oddish." Zubit." Shiina rounded up, sounding as determined as ever. He gave his 3 Pokémon his signature foxy grin before returning Kusano and Shiina to their Pokeballs and letting Akitsu reclaim her position on his shoulder. "Now, let's get out of here and get to Cerulean." "Right. Fairy." Lillie and Pippi agreed as the group exited the cave. "You're sure about this?" A shadowed figured questioned from the other side of a video phone that Team Rocket who had disguised themselves with matching trench coats was using. "Positive, sir," Jessie answered. "The twerp that got in the way of our job had a Vulpix that was white as snow and was using ice-type moves. It was also pretty powerful when the brat was taking charge," James added. "It's obvious that the Vulpix is his best Pokémon." "Interesting," the boss mused. "So, one boy has a uniquely powerful Pikachu at his side and another has a Vulpix of opposite typing to one's here in Kanto." He took a moment to think about what to do before reaching a decision. "Alright then. You 3 will target the Vulpix since you'll be more prepared for it. I'll have Cassidy and Butch go after the Pikachu." "Yes, Giovanni sir." The trio declared before ending the call and heading out. They had a blonde twerp with an icy vixen to find. Chapter 5. Get set to get wet. In the Alola region, we find Lucamin looking over some data at the research center on Akala Island alongside Professors Kukui and Burnett, the latter looking to be in the early stages of pregnancy. A frown was seen on her face as she looked over the strange readings that had been recorded the evening before. "These are accurate?" she asked one of Burnett's aides. "Yes. I was here when the recordings started. It seems that wormholes are starting to form once again. Nothing has exited them, but the portals are generating enough power to draw attention to both our recorders and local populace." "How so?" Kukui pressed. "Power in the cities closest to the wormhole waypoints has gone out until the portal closes. We've been in touch with Kahuna Nanu and he's been informing the police districts of each island so that they could warn the people." "What are you telling them?" Burnett questioned. "Rolling blackouts and that the authorities are doing the best they can to handle the problem. However, the kahuna have all been told the truth. Good. We don't want to cause a panic, Lucamin muttered, pulling out her phone to make a call. I'm calling Gladian. His Silvally was made for handling the ultra beasts, after all. Right, I wonder if I should get in touch with Minato. Kukui mused. I'm not sure what he can do from Kanto, dear, Brunette shot down. Yes, but he's dealt with the ultra beasts back at either paradise. The couple saw Lucamin flinch at that as she waited for her son to answer her call. She then moved to the other room with an uncomfortable expression. That could have been said a bit more tactfully, Brunette admonished her husband. Sorry, I'll see if I can get a hold of Minato, he said awkwardly as he moved to a videophone. Back with Lucamin, she was speaking to Gladian about the situation. Are you serious? Yes, dear. Where are you, currently? Pony Island. I'm training my Pokémon at Bast Pony Canyon to prepare for Kahuna Hapu and her team. But if the Ultra Beasts are coming back, then I doubt she'll be focused on Island Challengers. How soon can you get here? I'll head out first thing in the morning, Mom. If I can get a fast enough ride, I should be at Akala in a few days. See if Wick can come get you. She's still working at either, so she might be able to pick you up on one of the boats. Will do. I'll see you soon. Be safe, dear, Lucamin bid as she hung up. She took a shaky breath and gripped her arm to stop it from trembling. Memories of her temporary fusion with the Ultra Beast, Nihilego, raced through her mind. When she had nearly lost her sanity in searching for the Ultra Beasts, her mind had removed all desire of finding Moan and given into the seductive feeling of power the Ultra Beast gave her. Sanity gave way to desire and she battled against Minato and his men. It wasn't until she came to in a recovery ward after the battle that she realized what her actions had caused. While she was glad that Naruto forgave her for being the catalyst that led to Minato's crippling, she still couldn't forgive herself. Memories brought forth by Kukui's words brought back those darker feelings and she was afraid of being overtaken again. Sitting down on the couch, she buried her face into her palms and let out some muffled, shaky sobs. It was a horrible feeling, living in fear. She just hoped that she could find the strength to face the Ultra Beasts. Naruto frowned as he sat on his bed at the Pokémon Center. He had just gotten off a video call with his parents and was informed that his father would be returning to Alola for a while. Apparently, Kukui really needed his help and Minato felt he'd be more helpful going in person than through video chat or email. I wonder how everyone else is doing, he mused softly, not wanting to wake up Lillie as she slept on her bed. He smiled softly as Akitsu was curled up against her, glad that they were so close. Deciding that it was still early enough to make another call, Naruto left the room and returned to the video phones. Dialing the necessary number, he started the call and waited for an answer. After nearly all of the rings, he thought that he'd have to call the next morning. But then the call was accepted and a man with messy white hair with shaved sides, black and silver clothes, and some grayish eyeliner, was on screen. He looked surprised for a moment before smirking at the Uzumaki boy. Well, if it ain't little Naru. He greeted. How have you been? Been good, Guzma. You? And complain. Been training hard lately to prepare for Kukui's little Pokémon League. You gonna compete? I can't. I haven't done the island challenge and I started my journey here in Kanto. Kanto? The hell you doing all the way over there? We moved, remember? Mom and Dad moved us to Sanabra Island a few years ago. Damn, I forgot all about that. What the hell's wrong with you, Guzma? Naruto fought a chuckle at seeing his old mentor berating himself. Before he moved, Naruto was one of the few people who were friendly with Team Skull, a group of misfit kids who liked to cause trouble and were led by Guzma, who helped teach Naruto different aspects of being a trainer. Most of Team Skull's antics were harmless, mainly being graffiti and public disturbances with their rapping. However, there was still the rare member committing a more serious crime that popped up on occasion. Last he heard, one of the members was charged with some serious jail time for grand theft auto and destruction of property. So, how's Plumeria? He asked awkwardly. She's been kinda moody lately. Can't tell if it's because of a certain monthly visit or if it's something else. Naruto sweat dropped at that. She's here, you know. Wanna talk? No. That's okay. You don't have to. Naruto tried to turn down but was cut off by Guzma looking off to the side. Yo, Plumeria. Get over here. Off screen, Naruto heard a familiar voice call back, what for? Naru's calling. Naruto was sweating with his face frozen in a smile that was a mix of awkward, nervous, and terrified. He had a feeling how she was going to react if Lillie's phone call a few days ago was any indication. Guzma rolled his seat a bit to the side as a young woman's face joined him on screen. As usual, her hair was a mix of pink and blonde and was tied in four tails, her eyes were marked by white eyeliner and black mascara, and a bandana was wrapped around her head. She gave Naruto an annoyed look and he nervously waved with a weak chuckle. Hey, Ria, he awkwardly greeted with a nervous chuckle. Uzumaki, she replied evenly, making him flinch. Oh, yeah. She was pissed. Finally decided to call, did ya? Swallowing the lump in his throat, he started rambling an explanation. I was busy with the move and getting settled in Sanaber. Then Akitsu hatched and I got registered as a trainer here in Kanto, then left for Pallet Town. And then Lillie showed up and… Hold it. Lillie. She's with you? Oh, I am become heir, Naruto lamented mentally. Why yeah. 1. He saw her close her eyes and take a deep breath as her brow twitched dangerously. It didn't help that Guzma was looking amused by the conversation. What port city are you closest to at the moment? Plumeria asked slowly and deliberately. I'm currently in Cerulean City and Vermilion City a few days south of here. Vermilion is a port city. Lily's girlfriend, Celine, is supposed to meet up with us there in about a week or so. I see Guzma. Don't worry, he cut her off with a smirk. I can handle things here. The crew was gonna help me keep training, so you can go if you want. She smirked back at him before turning it towards Naruto, and he swallowed another lump in his throat at the dangerous edge it gained. If you're not there by next week, you know what's going to happen, yeah? Oh, you'll be really upset. He guessed with a nervous smile. I will hunt your ass down, knock your ass out with different poisons, and then brand your ass as mine. Clear. Crystal. He squeaked out in terror. Good. She yelled back, and Guzma looked just as nervous as Naruto. There was a reason Plumeria was the designated big sis of Team Skull. She kept them in line and from doing stupid stuff. Not even he, the boss, was safe from her wrath when he went too far. Keeping her smirk, she bid, I better see you there, Naru. She then hung up and Naruto was left frozen in his seat, white as a ghost and sweating in terror. I'm a dead man. The following morning had Naruto and Lillie going north of Cerulean so that Naruto could train his team on Route 24. He was also hoping to meet Bill, one of the original creators of the Pokémon PC system and a self-proclaimed Pokemaniac. Naruto figured that if there was anyone in Kanto, save for Prof. Oak, who would have any sort of information on Mew, it would be Bill. I wonder what he's like, Lillie spoke up, holding Pippi in her arms as she walked alongside Naruto. I've seen him in interviews on TV. He's a nice guy who is passionate about Pokémon. He then gave Lillie a meaningful stare and added, he's also the one that helped Aunt Lucamin recover from what happened back then. Oh, she replied in a lowered voice. Lillie and Gladion had been told by Lucamin about her past before she was legally allowed to raise them. It was hard for Lillie to accept that her doting mother was once a criminal who had nearly lost her mind. It was harder to accept that her father was gone forever. Gladion had gained a drive after hearing their mother's story and he set off on his journey with his type. Null and their father Zoroark. His goal was to get strong enough so that their family wouldn't have to worry about the Ultra Beasts any longer. Lillie took more time to find her strength and it was because of Naruto and Mizuki that she eventually found the drive to become a Pokémon trainer as well. And like her brother, she hoped to become strong enough so that her mother wouldn't need to be afraid any longer. I'll have to thank him when we meet him, she spoke aloud. We can both thank him, Naruto assured her with a smile. He gave you back your mom and Lucamin has been part of my life for as long as I can remember too. We're all family, Lily-chan. She smiled back at him and leaned into her fellow blonde, allowing him to wrap an arm around her shoulders in a sideways hug. They stayed in that position for a few moments before she pulled back, a newfound determination in her face. Let's get going. Right. Time for some training on the way to Bill's. Here's your prize, kid. A man in a large trench coat proclaimed as he handed Naruto a nugget of gold. Whoa, the Uzumaki gasped out, amazed at the prize for beating the 5 trainers on Route 24's bridge. They were rather easy to beat, with Shiina and Kusano getting plenty of experience from the battles. Seeing as Akitsu was more trained and experienced than them, Naruto didn't have her battle so that he could focus on raising up his other 2 Pokémon. It helped that Cerulean's gym was known as the Water Gym. So, Kusano would definitely need the experience to get stronger. She had even learned both Stun Spore and Sleep Powder, which would be a big help in the future. As for Shiina, he had learned Confuse Ray, which had helped secure the victory against the 5th trainer on the bridge. He was pleased with his own growth, giving a victory screech at the end of the battle. You know, you've got plenty of skill with Pokémon, kid. The man continued. You'd be a great addition to Team Rocket. Both blondes went still at that, turning to the man in shock. Oh? Have you heard of us? Well, this makes it easier. What do you say? Wanna join up? Naruto frowned. No way. What? Why not? You think you're too good for Team Rocket? Is that it? The man yelled back, ripping away his trench coat and revealing his Team Rocket uniform. I'll show you not to look down on us. By the time I'm through with you, you'll be begging to join us. Bring it on, asshole. Naruto fired back. Ani-chan. Lillie gasped out, sounding scandalized. Scold me later. Team Rainbow Rocket theme plays. I'm out, Mankey. the rocket grunt sent out. Let's go, Sheena. Mankey looked like an angry monkey with a large head and a pig-like nose. It gave furious screeches and pounded the ground in anticipation. Mankey, go for a fury swipes. Go higher in the air and use confuse ray. The fighting type leapt at the poison flying Pokémon, but the small bat flapped hard and avoided the attack before letting out a sonic wave that left the Mankey stunned. Its eyes became swirls and it swayed drunkenly while Naruto grinned. Finish it with wing attack. The Zubit's wings gained a white glow as it dove towards the Mankey. Dodge it. The grunt tried ordering, but the Mankey didn't hear and was slammed in the face by the flying type attack. Ack. No. The Mankey was slammed into the railings of the bridge before it fell forward on its face, knocked out. With a growl, the rocket grunt recalled his fainted Pokémon before sending out his next. Drowsy. Z. Drowsy. The Pokémon that looked like a small, yellow and brown bipedal elephant cried out as it emerged from the Pokeball. Damn, a psychic type, Naruto growled, knowing that Sheena and Kusano were both weak to those kinds of Pokémon. Sheena, come back. The Zubit was pulled back into the Pokeball before Naruto and Akitsu shared a nod and she leapt forward to face the Drowsy. The white Vulpix. The grunt murmured before shaking his head to focus. It makes little difference. Drowsy, go for confusion. Double team, Akitsu. Before the psychic move could land, Akitsu shimmered in place before she multiplied into 7 copies of herself. The wave of mental energy dispelled 2 of the copies, which made Naruto smirk. Now, use powder snow. Vulpix. Akitsu cried, sending forth a wave of frigid snow that the Drowsy took with crossed arms. Use pound. Z. The psychic Pokémon cried, rushing in for its attack on what it assumed was the real Akitsu. Slow it down with icy wind. Gathering frosty energy before her face, Akitsu let out a cry as she unleashed it as a blast of freezing air that struck against the Drowsy and slowed its advance to a crawl. Now, end it with quick attack. Vix. She yipped back before disappearing a burst of speed and reappearing against Drowsy's chest, slamming into it and sending it sprawling onto its back out cold. Drowsy, no. The grunt yelled out in panic, out of any other Pokémon. Then music. You've lost this battle, Naruto announced as he blocked the bridge so the man couldn't run back to the city. Lillie, go get Officer Jenny. I'll keep this guy occupied. Damned brat, the man grumbled, trying to look for other ways to flee. Are you sure? Lillie asked in concern. Absolutely, Naruto replied, sending out Kusano as he did. Use sleep powder. Ish. Oddish. Kusano sounded off with a cute salute from one of her leaves before releasing a bluish powder at the rocket grunt, who quickly succumbed to the slumbering effects and passed out. Better move on, Lillie. I'll make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Right. I'll be right back. She bid before rushing back across the bridge. Meanwhile, Naruto had Akitsu freeze the grunt's wrists and ankles together as makeshift cuffs before leaning against the railing of the bridge. He gave affectionate rubs on the heads of his 2 Pokémon. Good work, girls. And now, we wait. I can't believe that we went through all of that and Bill wasn't even there. Naruto grumbled as he and Lillie made their way back to the Cerulean Pokémon Center. I didn't know he lived in Johto, Lillie added with a sigh. Well, at least I got plenty of training in for Kusano and Sheena. After some rest, we'll tackle the gym tomorrow. Lillie nodded in agreement before she spotted a familiar trio of people. Isn't that Ash and Misty? Naruto hummed questioningly before looking to where she was. I'll be damned. It is, and Brock too. Looks like he's traveling with them. Should we go say hello? Naruto took a moment to see that there seemed to be an awkward tension between Ash and Misty, while Brock looked to be attempting to mediate and Pikachu just looked uncomfortable. Maybe we shouldn't, not sure I want to get involved with whatever they're arguing about. Yeah, Lillie awkwardly agreed before the 2 blondes entered the center and Naruto dropped off his Pokémon to Nurse Joy. Do you mind if I make a call? I'll meet you back at the room. Sure thing, he bid with a smile before heading off. Lillie headed over to the video phones and dialed the number before initiating the call. After a couple rings, a familiar face appeared on screen. Lillie-chan. What's up? Just wanted to call and let you know that we're in Cerulean City. We actually arrived yesterday and I forgot to call. Aw, that's alright. As long as you're having a good time with Naruto. How is he, by the way? Getting tougher? He's improving. He's going to take on the second gym tomorrow since he trained his Pokémon pretty hard today and dealt with Team Rocket. We actually ran into them at Mount Moon trying to steal the Moonstone. Isn't it the space rock that Clefairy practically worship? Yes. Oh, I almost forgot. Reaching down, Lillie picked up Pippi and sat her down in her lap. Naruto helped me catch this cutie back in the caverns. Say hi to Celine, Pippi. Fairy, the pink Pokémon greeted happily with a cute wave. Aw. Hi Pippi. You gonna look after Lillie-chan for me? Clefairy, fairy. That's good. Keep her safe for me, yeah. She's very special to me. Lillie blushed faintly while Pippi nodded determinedly. How's your island challenge? On hold for now. Apparently, the Kahuna are all meeting up for something serious. So, I can't challenge Hapu. Gladian told me that your mom was being called in, too. What would they need mother's help with? Lillie questioned in concern. I'm not sure I could head out with Gladian to find out. Knowing him, he'd probably keep things hush-hush just to keep you from worrying. Could you, please? I know they don't want me to, but I worry when I don't hear from them. I don't believe in no news is good news. I can do that. In the meantime, try not to think too much about it. You're supposed to be enjoying your first Pokémon journey with Naruto, after all. If you start worrying, then so will he. I think Ani-chan might already suspect something is wrong. He seemed a tiny bit off this morning. Maybe he does and he's trying to handle it like Gladian would. You know that they both worry about you. She sighed and nodded. I wish they wouldn't feel that way. I'm not afraid of bad news. Try talking to him. See if he knows what's up. Anyway, I better get going. There aren't many boats left that are leaving Pony Island. Okay, be safe, Celine-chan. I will. And keep your chin up, Lillie. Love you. Lillie blushed brighter and shyly replied, I'll love you too. AWSOADORABLE Celine gushed before she ended the call. Outing at a blank screen, an embarrassed Lillie made her way to her room and saw Naruto lying on his bed with a thoughtful expression. Sitting atop her own bed, she set Pippi down beside her and faced him. Is everything alright, Naruto? She asked softly. He turned his head to look at her for a moment, seeing the worry in her eyes. While he wanted to keep quiet, he knew that Lillie deserved to hear what he had. Ad was called back to Alola to help with a situation that Professors Kukui and Burnett found. And Lucamin is there, too. What happened? By the sound of things, some wormholes have started opening up in Alola again. You know what that means, right? The Ultra Beast, she whispered. Exactly. I'm sure everyone there can handle it, but I hate not being able to go help. I'm not strong enough to deal with those things. I'm just worried about Dad, Auntie, and the others, you know. Me too. I talked with Celine-chan on the video phone. Apparently, the Kahuna are getting involved too. Not surprising since the Ultra Beasts could be a danger to Alola as a whole. Is Celine going to try and help? She's leaving now to go after Gladian Nai-san. Neither she or Nai-san were able to challenge Hapu for their island challenge, and I'm sure that mom called Nai-san to help. His Silvally was created to combat the Ultra Beasts. That's true. I don't think we should get too worried about this. I know it's hard not to be, but we should believe in everyone's ability to handle this. They wouldn't want us to jump the gun and rush in trying to help. I know, but I can't help my own concerns. Sitting up, Naruto reached over and gently grasped her hand, squeezing it softly in support. He gave her a smile of reassurance and understanding, and she faintly smiled back and gripped his hand in return. They're gonna be just fine, Lillie. I know it. While she knew that he was mainly trying to ease her concerns, Lillie couldn't help but believe in his words. And she decided to hold tight to that belief and agree that he was right. Everyone would be okay. The following day found our owl and blonde standing outside of the Cerulean gym, which also pulled triple duty based on public input. It was a gym, an aquarium, and a location for the Sensational Sisters water ballet. Apparently, their shows almost always sold out. Entering the building, Naruto and Lillie walked through some hallways that had the walls lined with glass walls, showing various water-type Pokémon living within the gym. Most of the Pokémon kept to themselves, but a couple watched the two of them curiously. Past the hallways, the doors opened up to reveal a large auditorium with multiple pools, seating for spectators, and a single battlefield. It was mostly empty save for three women, who Naruto and Lillie hoped would give Naruto his gym battle. One of them was blonde, one had blue hair, and the other had pink hair. Excuse us. Naruto called out politely, earning their attention. I'm here to battle for the Cascade badge. Are one of you the gym leader? Oh, no, the blonde sighed out. Another one. We should have expected challengers, but so many have come just this week, the Pinkette lamented. Is it my turn this time? The blue-haired one asked the other two, who nodded. With a sigh, she turned to Naruto and answered, I'll give you your battle. Are you ready now? He nodded. Yep. Ready anytime. But, if you don't mind me saying, the three of you don't look like you're enjoying running the gym. That's because we're covering for our sister, the blonde replied. Oh. I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Daisy, and these are my sisters, Violet, the blue-haired one smiled politely, and Lillie, the Pinkette waved. And we're the Sensational Sisters of Cerulean. Nice to meet you three. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, and this is my friend, Lillie either. Lillie bowed politely and greeted, hello. Have you seen one of our water ballets? Not to brag, but they're pretty good, Lillie spoke up. No, we only arrived in Cerulean a couple nights ago. We came here to try meeting Bill at Route 25 and then challenge the gym, Naruto answered. But, if you're having a showing today, we'd love to see it after Naruto's battle, Lillie offered politely. The three sisters sighed at that. To be honest, we're a little rundown from all of the battles we've had this week, Daisy explained. We're not exactly the best when it comes to battling, so our gym has been simple enough for 3 consecutive trainers from Pallet Town to get easy victories against us. I know we're only covering, but that was embarrassing, Violet added with a pout. And now I'll be battling again when I'm not even a fan of Pokémon battles. If you three are covering, then who is the actual gym leader? Naruto asked curiously. Our other sister, Misty, Lillie answered. But she left the gym to us a few months ago and told us that she was going to travel for a while. We're more focused on trying to expand our water ballets so that we could take them to other cities, Daisy added. Performing with our Pokémon has always been more enjoyable compared to battling with them. But, Violet spoke up as she guided everyone to the battlefield, you're here for an official gym battle. So, we have an obligation to fulfill. The sensational sisters stood on one end of the battlefield while Naruto and Lillie stood on the other. The battlefield was a mix of land and water, with a large circular lake in the center that had circular platforms for non-aquatic Pokémon to stand on. Violet was given 2 Pokeballs, while Daisy moved over to the referee podium. I hope you don't mind if I officiate. Our usual ref was given today off. That's fine, Naruto replied, getting a nod and smile from her. Okay then. She then cleared her throat and spoke as officially as she could, saying, the battle for the Cascade Badge will soon begin. Each trainer will only be allowed to use 2 Pokémon in total, and only the challenger may switch out his Pokémon. Challenger, send out your Pokémon. Let's kick things off, Shiina. Naruto called out, sending forth his Zubat who screeched determinedly. Come on out, Goldeen. Violet responded in kind, sending out a red and white fish Pokémon with a small horn and pouty-looking lips. Are both trainers ready? Then you may begin. Daisy declared. HGSS Kanto Gym Leader theme plays. Shiina, start things off with a confused ray. Naruto called out. The Zubat nodded to him and screeched out, unleashing a high-pitched screech towards the water type. Goldeen, dive to avoid it. Violet ordered, getting her Pokémon to submerge beneath the water. Aim your sound waves towards the water. Naruto told Shiina, who descended closer so that his screeching could hit the water's surface. Water should be able to carry sound, Naruto thought to himself. So, if that's true, then. A few moments later, Goldeen resurfaced with a dazed expression. Ah. Goldeen. Violet cried out in worry, making Naruto smirk. It worked. He mentally cheered before ordering, wing attack, Shiina. Let's go. With a battle cry screech, Shiina performed a backwards loop to gain momentum as his wings gained a white glow. Goldeen, shake off the confusion and use water pulse. Violet called out, getting the goldfish Pokémon to snap out of its daze and spit out water in a ring shape. Shiina, dive through the ring. Naruto quickly ordered, getting the Zubat to tuck in his wings and narrowly get through the aquatic attack. Now, do it. Unfurling his wings, Shiina struck true with his wing attack, slamming the Goldeen and sending it onto one of the small platforms where it flopped helplessly. It tried to make its way back to the water, but the damage it took from Shiina made flopping painful. Violet cringed at this and recalled the Goldeen, accepting the loss. I'm sorry, Goldeen. You tried your best. Will it be okay? Naruto called to her. It'll be fine. I just didn't want to watch it keep flopping around. She then grabbed the other Pokeball and threw it. Let's go, Seal. The Pokémon called forth was a white-furred sea lion with a small horn on the forehead and a noticeable underbite with lower fangs poking out from its mouth, as well as its tongue. It landed on one of the platforms and clapped happily, earning giggles from the sensational sisters. Challenger, would you switch Pokémon? Daisy called to Naruto, to which he nodded. Come on back, Shiina, he said to his Zubat, who flew back over to him and was returned to his Pokeball. Naruto pulled out his other one and threw it with a declaration of, Kusano, let's go. Appearing on another platform, his Oddish stood tall and glared cutely at the water type. Odd. Oddish. She declared. Seal, go for an ice shard. Counter it with Razor Leaf. Sharpened pieces of ice met equally sharpened leaves, dropping the broken and sliced pieces into the water below. Get closer and use Headbutt. Violet ordered, prompting the seal to dive into the water and swim towards Kusano, crossing the distance with impressive speed. Fast. Naruto cried out in surprise. Kusano, surround yourself and stun Spore. The Oddish nodded and shuddered in place before shaking herself left and right, releasing yellowish pollen from her body in a cloud of spores. She was surrounded just in time for the seal to dive out of the water and hit her hard with its headbutt, sending her off the platform and into the water. However, the stun spore did its job and clung to the sea lion, inflicting it with paralysis and making it struggle to move. Kusano. Now's your chance. Naruto called as he watched her use her leaves to row her body to another platform. Go for a sweet scent. Once she was back on solid ground, Kusano shook herself dry and then released some pinkish powder that she fanned over towards the struggling seal via her leaves. The water-type Pokémon tried to get back into the water, but its paralysis made it difficult and it was unable to avoid breathing in the sweet scent. The pink powder made the seal unconsciously relax, leaving it wide open. Finish this off, Kusano. Razor leaf. Ah dish. She cried, crouching low and twisting her body before jumping up and untwisting, releasing the grass-type attack. The flurry of sharpened leaves flew across the water, heading right for the seal. Oh, no. Seal. Violet cried out in concern right as the attack struck and sent the sea lion Pokémon hurtling into the water. When it floated back up with swirled-out eyes, she sighed sadly and returned her defeated Pokémon to its ball. End music. The battle is over. Daisy announced. And the winner is Naruto Uzumaki. Alright. Way to go, Kusano. Naruto cheered, getting a pleased cry from the Oddish. Get some rest. You've earned it. With his Pokémon returned to her Pokeball, Naruto and Lillie made their way to the three sisters and Daisy was seen holding a small case. As the gym leaders, we confer to you the Cascade badge, Violet announced, prompting Daisy to open the case and show the blue badge that looked like a water droplet. Congratulations. Thanks. And that was a fun battle. You might not like them, but at least you know what you're doing, Naruto replied, gratefully accepting the badge and giving some reassurance to Violet. Maybe, but we're not really cut out for battles. Performing for people is where we shine, Lillie spoke up. Still, you've raised your Pokémon well, Uzumaki-kun. How about, as another prize for winning, we give you 2 free tickets to our showing tonight? Daisy offered. Oh, we couldn't do that. Lillie tried to turn down. You already gave Naruto his badge. Anything more is too much. Nonsense. Violet waved off with a smile. You two have never seen our shows and we can't let you leave without seeing it at least once. Don't make us beg, Lillie pleaded, and the sensational sisters gave the 2 Alolan blondes adorable pouts with overly watery eyes. Ah. Okay. We'll see the show. Naruto cried out, caving immediately. Just stop making those faces. While Lillie comforted him for giving in so easily, the 3 sisters giggled at his expense and shared high fives. With the battle done and the tickets given, they told the duo to return that evening for the show. That night, our 2 blondes from Alola took the time to forget their concerns for their families back home and simply enjoy the water ballet. But in the backs of their minds, there would always be that niggling feeling of concern. Hopefully, things would be alright. What if Naruto x Lillie Pokémon harem end here and thanks for watching my video till the end.